Welcome to episode 4 of the Trilogy Media podcast. Today we have David McClellan of socialcatfish.com, also the very popular Social Catfish YouTube channel where they bust and expose and investigate romance scams. We are so excited to have him here today because we have stories for days. We're going to talk about maybe some run-ins with the Mexican cartel that we've had when in some of our investigations. We're going to talk about our first collaboration ever, which was racist bitch Jody.
And of course, we're gonna talk about from David being homeless, from homeless to self-made, first in his family, millionaire.
Stuff that I don't even know about this guy. We're gonna go into all of it right now.
And as you know, today we're dropping 40 Club episode 4, Lucha Libre, me and David. We went to Mexico, Mazatlán. We did international competition together. And you don't want to miss these stories. What happened in Mexico stays in Mexico. Let's go.
Except for today. We're going to tell you all about it right now from Los Angeles. We're here. We're happy to have you. Thank you so much for being here. And welcome to the Trilogy Media podcast.
Let's do this.
Let's freaking do it, boys.
Yeah, everybody's good?
Daddy's home.
Why am I jacked right now? Ryan just started off. He's like, "Let's do it,
You
boys."
should be jacked.
Jack me off.
No, don't do that.
No, Jack, get that.
Let's get jacked.
Let's get jacked and now jack me off.
Let's get jacked.
Oh my God.
All right, that was actually check for the volume.
Yeah, I'm checking now. I'll adjust it a little as we go, but it should be good. Sounding okay?
It sounds amazing. Now, is it David from Social Catfish or Daddy from Social Catfish?
Both. Who's
It depends who you are.
Who's asking?
You know what? Depends who's asking. And some people call me Zaddy. So
Where did Zaddy come from? Because I've heard that in chat, but I don't know what it means.
our members is like, they're like, "You're not Daddy, you're Zaddy."
What did it-
And I'm like, "What the f is Zaddy?" So I like Googled it. It's like a hot dad. Like so I'm like,
Zaddy.
yeah.
All right,
Where does the Z come from? Why?
let's
I don't know.
do the opening and
Ryan, will you
do
Google
the-
that and figure
Oh,
out
where are
why
we going?
Zaddy
The
is
intro's at the end. We do the intro at the end so people know what we're talking about. But
no, introducing.
yeah. Oh, we did. Daddy's home. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, today is a very special, day.
Episode 4 of the Trilogy Media podcast. We have David McClellan of Social Catfish, a.k.a. Daddy, a.k.a. Zaddy.
A lot of people don't even know that David, it's for fucking Americans. This is for you. What
does that
your
mean?
name is?
Davide. My real name is
David?
Davide. Yeah, so I was born Davide, and
How do you spell that?
David.
With an E?
With
With
an E.
With an E?
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
I call him David.
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 Yeah. So I was born Davide, and then when I moved to, I was born in Italy. So when I moved to the U.S., my dad wanted to Americanize me, and so he removed the E. But
You call him. That's what we call him.
yeah. So, but I'm legit like contemplating like changing my name back because I'm like really proud of my name.
Yeah,
you know?
I love your name.
Yeah.
Like-
and it's like very unique. Also,
unique.
like think about passports, IDs,
That's a pain in the
documents.
ass. It
is.
Like I
Changing
have-
your phone number is hard enough.
Yeah. So I have all these like business documents, like LLCs, corporations, all these things.
You think he's going to be able to pronounce that?
Who?
You.
Dude, this is
What
name.
what is it?
No, listen. Where I came from, David, it's very common name.
David, yes, but that's not the name.
I know, it's Davide.
Is that right?
It's Davide?
Yeah,
all right.
dude,
Davide.
you talking to my people. You're American, just f*** off. Because of you, he's David.
Art might have us on this one. I'll give him that one.
To be fair, I mean,
What?
I always forget that you're not born in America.
Yeah. In Italy.
He just said that.
In Florence. In Florence,
Are you
Italy.
hard?
Don't you have headphones on?
Ryan's not paying attention.
I'm looking up what a Zaddy is.
Zaddy. No, actually,
Ryan's dialed in. Okay, leave him alone for the
leave him
next 10
alone.
minutes.
He's Zaddy.
He can't multitask.
Ashton actually wanted to change his name as well, and like Asel Bingovic. Wow. But he
They
said,
wouldn't accept it?
Yeah, he didn't accept it.
No,
yeah.
It's like the DMV when you
TSA
try to like
free.
change your license
Yeah.
plate.
Oh my
They're
God.
like, you can't have suckers on your license plate. It's like, okay.
Look,
All right. Well, but you have an accent as an American, but you have no accent to me and Americans.
But I have a decent Italian accent.
No, I don't hear.
You speak Italian?
at
Io sono,
all.
io sono italiano, io parlo italiano.
Tell me
tutto
what
il
Italian
giorno.
is.
Did you
Piece of
move?
shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you don't speak Italian. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be welcome here. You guys would just like have a
We'll
little.
talk to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you live in Italy?
For 3 years.
Okay.
But I've talked to my Italian family like my whole life. So like my grandfather.
But you didn't really grow up.
No. I didn't grow up
Okay.
in Italy. Yeah.
Which city? We're in Italy.
So Firenze, Florence.
Oh my fuck. It's Zaddy. This is hot daddy from Italy. Yeah.
Casanova Italiano.
man.
Casanova Italiano.
We gotta talk about.
We definitely need to talk about that.
I honestly, among all of us, I'm like, they're super excited. We all excited, but I'm extra excited, because you're my fucking twin brother.
Yeah.
We both.
Art calls me last night and he's like, brother, he's breathing.
I know why.
Oh, dude,
I know why.
Okay, tell him.
Yeah. We just booked the most famous person, the richest famous person on the podcast. You're never going to guess who it is. And I'm like, you're right. I won't. Like,
No, you said I will tell you who is that.
So-
I was like, yes,
He's like, guess.
he's
And I'm like-
famous,
I'm
big
like, I don't know,
dick.
just tell me. Yeah. And he's like, guess. I'm like, okay, Matt Damon. Like, he's all, fuck Matt Damon.
I know, man. Hey, Matt Damon, if you're watching, no string attached, brother. Love you.
But then he's like, it's you. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I said-
you're right. Okay.
And I said, and this famous guest is David from Social Catfish. And he started laughing. Look, before we're going to jump into nitty gritty of business,
Nitty gritty.
we just want to, genuinely, a lot of people want to know who you are, your background, where you came from, how you were growing up, get to know you as a
And also, I just want to
personality.
mention, because you people listening to this may be watching, but they also might just be listening. So the one that's sitting here, if you watch any of Trilogy Media's videos, is our David, our daddy, our guy that we share big one-bedroom apartments on the highway with, the one that we travel with a lot for romance scam investigations, our bang wagon, our partner in crime for so many scam busts that we have done and will continue to do. So I definitely want to talk about the origins of Social Catfish and how the fuck you got into something so specific.
Yeah.
And then how we all linked up and I was
Jody.
actually telling Ryan our very first collab
Dude,
was Jody. Like, what a way to start
Jody.
a working relationship, which is the only video Ryan says that he hasn't seen.
I haven't seen that one. That's the one.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
I'm like, of all videos,
That's like your
you gotta
number
watch that one.
2, number 3 video.
It's
right?
one of our most viewed videos of all
How
time.
many comments on that? Didn't you
Oh
say
my God.
50 or 60,000
It's
comments or something
insane.
When
crazy?
we were in the car in Washington, D.C., while it's been jizzling around, and we literally,
What year did that video come out, guys?
I can tell you
3
right
years
now.
ago, right? I think it was 3 years ago.
December 29th, 2022, we premiered it.
22.
Our channel, it has 4.9 million views, 47,000 comments, 91,000 likes.
Think about almost 50,000
That's just one
comments.
channel. His channel is just as much.
Yeah, 50,000 people were like, I gotta comment
Talk
about this
about this
person. We
bitch.
gotta talk about this.
we put Jody on Spanish channel, and that bitch got 200, 250,000 views.
I mean, she's
No matter where you put her,
she is a click magnet. I mean, not to be shallow about it, but
She's a click
she's
magnet.
there's something about her that makes good TV.
I think Jody's more famous than any of us, by the way. Combined.
oh my god,
She could have her own YouTube channel.
We've half jokingly, half not jokingly joked about having her on.
I mean,
It would wouldn't be a fun vibe, but it
No.
would be for some interesting.
I have a love. I definitely have a love.
You have a
hate.
love?
I have a love hate for Jody.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the
Um,
love?
I like. She's a lonely person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
She
like,
is.
and you feel bad for people in that situation, and then you hang out with her and you realize why she's lonely.
yeah.
You know, but like.
That's how I feel about that.
That's a good way. Wow.
When you can go though, like shit.
The
I
best
now
parts
understand
of me
why
are
I'm
my
the only
wife
one
and my
friend.
dog. So.
But yeah, like I mean, I generally feel bad for her.
Yeah.
She wasn't raised in a good environment. She had really toxic relationships like growing up, and dating, and I think she was married, and her ex is like in prison or something like that. Like, so, she just, she's had a lot of bad things. That being said, like, because I think she doesn't have confidence and she's alone all the time. She lets these things happen. She actually invites them in.
Yeah.
You know,
She's a magnet.
Yeah, she's a magnet for this stuff.
For negativity. And we had that conversation actually with, I asked that question to Jody. I was like, hey, Jody, what do you think, what kind of life is going to be after Colin? When Colin is gone and
There
he's
is no
exposed.
life after Colin, because Colin will always be there for her.
Right.
Do you guys want to summarize the story for anybody who hasn't seen it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I doubt.
Right.
It was the
watching
very
this?
first
Yeah.
collaboration that
No,
Trilogy and
boy.
Social Catfish did.
Boy.
The subject was someone from Nebraska or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we found out midway through the investigation that she's very racist. She doesn't like black people. She doesn't agree with interracial marriage. And it's so fucking ironic because she thinks she's dating this, I don't remember the details, some Marine that's overseas, but you guys had already tracked him. We knew that it was a scammer from Nigeria. She's literally in a relationship with a man of a race that she does not condone being in a relationship with. It's fucking batshit
They talk
crazy.
to him every day. Now,
For
I
8
think
years, she was sending her social security checks to this motherfucker.
7! Don't you fucking say
She
it was
corrected
8!
it. Well, now that was 3 years ago, so 10 now. So 10
She
years now.
corrected me. She was like, don't you fucking exaggerate
a
numbers.
decade.
It's 7 years, not 8.
And I'll also add that we all discovered this throughout making the video. We didn't know this going in, and we learned more as we went along, and it was our first collaboration, so we're balancing the desire to be professional with our collaboration, because you guys brought the story to us, but also wanting to choke this bitch because she kept saying the most out-of-pocket shit.
I say
and it never stopped. And then we traveled across the country to try to find one of her mules. Anyway, you should watch it.
One line, she said, let's blow Africa.
Yeah.
I wish I could blow Africa.
Yeah.
I wish we can blow Africa out of the...
And that was a conversation we had with you guys when editing this video about like...
And we put our balls. We said,
she's not the target. She's not the scammer.
We put our dick on the table and we said, like, look, we did have this conversation.
Yeah.
Again, we're respecting you guys. This is our first collab. We have this gigantic fucking case with Jody. And me and Ashton was like, listen, I don't want that our amazing fan base squad that we love so fucking much will all of a sudden start GoFundMe for Jody and try to help her. And she's like, I go to church. If I see a black man or African man, I don't want to even look at him because he's black. I was like, this bitch not getting any single fucking dollar from us.
I'm not a fan of cutting things to certainly to change the narrative, but also to make her look better, because people would want to help her if she's painted in a better light.
This is like a form of journalism, right? Like, I mean, essentially, like we're reporting on like the facts and like what happened.
What we saw.
And you know, like, I mean, your videos are longer than ours, so we do cut things, but we
well, there's a difference of cutting for time versus cutting for the actual
exactly
facts.
And that's why when we had that Zoom meeting, it was Drew, you, me, and Ashton, and we were like, hey guys, how you want to handle this racism stuff? Should we edit out? Should we leave it? And
because
we
we never experienced like a victim being kind of the bad guy in a way. Like we're going after a scammer, the victim's just part of the story, but then she ended up being a very pivotal part of the negativity of this whole story.
No, we're gonna show everything that we saw and we're gonna put it on the internet.
You know what's wild about this? So like this was by the way, this is the second time we did a Jody story, right?
Right.
So
you guys had already done that.
I always forget that.
Forgetting these.
And so we found like the place where the guy took the picture. There were pictures that she received that were actually two different guys. And we're like, look, this is one guy, this is the other guy. And so we debunked the story, and we did an IP tracker during that time. And so she had more than enough information to move on with her life. Right. And then she calls me out. Like, so this is what started this. So I ended up.
You hadn't met her in person yet. It was just Zoom at this point.
Zoom. Yeah.
Everything, right?
This was like during COVID and stuff. Yeah. So, we end up calling her, hey, Jody, like how, and she was like actually fairly pleasant. And we felt bad because like she's like brainwashed, and she was literally giving checks every single month, and she hadn't even bought herself a pair of pants in 7 years, you know? And so this was like the original story. And
Ashton can relate it. He wears the same underwear for like 10 years.
I have 2 orange shirts. One gets washed.
Well, that's right.
The other one gets worn. It's a cycle, and I have it dialed in, so fuck you.
Oh my God. So we just do a follow-up, and she's like calling me out on this follow-up. She's like, you're wrong, and blah, blah, blah. This is like 4 or 5 months after we just like want to follow up, see how she was doing. And I think we have this video somewhere, but basically she's like, I want you to redo this. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, what did we not give you that was not like overly apparent? Because we had like the Photoshops, we showed her what it was. She's like, that wasn't enough. And she like was holding on to this like small thing. So I'm like, look, we don't ever do this. But, and she's like, I want to apologize. She asked for an apology too. Yeah. She asked for an apology.
What a bitch.
And she's like, I want you to apologize to Colin for blah, blah, blah.
Colin!
Yeah.
Colin!
So I'm like, okay, we'll make a deal. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize to Colin.
Sounds ridiculous.
If I can prove him wrong and you wrong, you owe me an apology.
Yeah.
You know? And then she's like, that's fine. And I'm like, but you come out, we'll do this whole thing. That was when we decided to contact you guys. And then she's like, I want you to fly me on your private jet. I'm like, I wish I had a private jet. Like,
She
what do you
said
think I
that?
have? Yeah.
She said that?
So she's like, I want to go on your PJ. I'm like, PJ. I'm like looking at Drew. I'm like, PJ.
PJ?
He's
Peanut
like,
butter and jelly?
that's
Pajamas?
what I'm thinking.
Pajamas? That's what I thought.
She's like,
What?
I want to go on your PJ. And then I look at Drew. He's like, private jet? I'm like, private jet? She's like, yeah, your private jet. I'm like, I don't have a private jet. Like,
Wow.
Hey, that's a great impression that you give to people,
Yeah.
that people think you that the daddy. That's
right.
a private jet park.
I'm doing good.
All right.
Wow.
So why did you want to help her if she's doing all this to you, David? I'm just curious. Is it just
She
have
was
a big heart?
Yeah, at the point she wasn't doing anything to me. It was
And we
just,
didn't know she was racist.
We find out later.
if you watch the first video, she was a different persona.
Yeah.
Like seriously, she was a different
She was like
persona.
more humble.
Yeah, she was more humble. When she came out and we were in person, she like amped it up. And realistically, like over Zoom and when you're just asking them questions about a scam, they're not really fully opening up.
Right.
But when you are like seeing them on the phone and then digging in a little bit about like, okay, well, why is this? And then we hadn't heard his voice before, right?
Mhm.
And that's what kind of triggered this whole thing because we heard his voice. We're like, that ain't some dude
Yeah.
from Nebraska, you know? And I think it was Art that's like, this guy's Nigerian.
Yeah.
And then that's when like all the racism came out and she was,
He was in the hotel room.
yeah.
That was the first day I met you.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the first day you met him.
Yeah.
Because we had only
Both
been
of
talking
us.
to Drew.
Yeah,
We didn't,
yeah.
when I met you that day, I didn't know.
No.
Yeah.
We were-
Yeah.
No. Yeah. We did a documentary that you can watch on Trilogy Plus, Malice in Dallas. So we had original first FaceTime with Drew and David in our room in Dallas. That's where first time ever we got introduced with Social Catfish. Do you remember that meeting? Drew, you and like, hey guys.
Oh
big-
yeah. We
big-
want to collab. We want
wanna
to work on
collab.
something. We didn't know
That
what it
was
was.
like
Okay.
22
Well, it was the first time I met you in person.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, that was, I guess, the same year. That's crazy.
Yeah, we were in Dallas.
But
I just remember
it was in the hotel room because I remember when I met you, I didn't know who you were because
Yeah.
I just had been. We had been talking to
Don't
Drew.
know anybody.
I thought Drew ran the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who's this guy? You know?
Oh, we're gonna talk about this
Sister,
later
guy.
because yeah, I
You want
have
coffee,
fucking
water?
stories.
What do you want?
Yeah, and actually, so me and Ashton, we have this inside joke that we keep saying on videos. It's like shitty investigators. That came from Jody because that's what
Started
she
with Jody.
called us.
Now all the comments say that
Right.
too, but
Yeah.
we're shit
Jody like, yeah,
investigators.
Trilogy Media, Social Catfish, you did a shitty investigation job about Colin.
Maybe you can find it, but like Ryan, but like the comments fucking hilarious because it's like if you what they call us like something I forget what they called us. Like,
I know that. No.
What do they call us?
I remember this and I show it to you. They said,
Oh, yeah.
if these three idiots can fuck this up so gloriously, I should quit my job tonight and I should do a better job tomorrow. I can do better than these three idiots.
Yeah,
Oh my
they probably
God.
can, but we always come out swinging at the
Yeah.
end. Like I don't know how we do it.
All right.
We show up without clipboards, without paperwork, without
my
anything,
God.
and we come out with all the information at the end. So
How about we're gonna talk a little bit, and I like this angle. I wanna give you my perspective because again, we met Drew, Brian, and Bree first,
Yeah.
and we did some traveling together. You came kind of like a little bit later in our circle of friendship.
Before we do that, can
Uh-huh.
you just respond to when you first started collecting all of our footage for that bust when we went to New York, and then you see the call between us and Jody when he is yelling at her about having a big black dick in her bed and and how big his dick is because he's from Nigeria,
she
and you
pisses
got
me
a
off
real
so much,
taste of Trilogy because he went. Usually, I'm the one to pop my lid lit off.
Okay.
He just went off.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm hangover, and there is Jody fucking my brain with stupidity.
Price is Right.
And I'm boiling. I became Dexter. Like when I really mad, and yesterday was first time when I'm mad, I can change my color to red.
Hey,
it
that's
means he's always mad.
I'm cool as a
You cool. Yeah, that's why I'm neutral.
I've actually never seen you mad except when I watched the clip you sent me of the misogynist guy that you were hitting
was
on your wife.
Yeah,
you went off.
Listen to me, you fucking asshole. Bragging that I'm hitting on my wife.
On Catfish Channel, Womanizer, it has Womanizer in the title, but it's because it's fucking asshole.
I went for the juggler with that.
Good.
I literally after I got off the call, I'm like title. I literally in my mind I'm like
actually wanna be a womanizer. And David goes off on this guy, rightfully so, because the guy was hitting on Brie the entire time.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a collab,
and I'm
but
very confident in our relationship. Like we've been together since we were like,
but like he just and then he answers the phone and he's like,
but
it turns into like a respect thing. Where
he made her uncomfortable.
Well, and then he went on the call with you and was like, "Oh, you're the guy whose wife I flirt with."
Yeah, exactly.
And for everybody that doesn't know, Bree is David's wife,
yes.
correct?
Brianne.
Yes.
Brianne.
Another co-pilot of Social Catfish, or another bang wagon sharing part of our party when we go down the road.
She's not part of the bang wagon, but she does travel with us.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's part of my bang wagon.
But we rent a giant bang wagon, we call it, because it started from a different. Anyway.
You can go.
Okay.
you can leave right now. Don't talk anymore.
All right. Yeah. This bromance can continue then.
Let's navigate it back to, I kind of want to know your perspective. How did you discover us? Like you or Drew or your team, then see the footage and then meeting us in person. And then we can share
How did one shit investigator find two more shit investigators?
How did 3 shit investigators?
Birds of a feather flock together. I'll tell you that right now. It's like flies on shit, man. We all get attracted to the same thing. So,
Joe, you said like there is a pile of shit and there is 3.
You know what it is? It's like not a lot of people do what we do. Like that's the reality of it, you know. And it is ballsy too to do what we do. Like it's some people, appreciate what we do. Some people think it's reckless. Whatever, right?
Well, a lot of people claiming that they can do what we do.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's an expert about what we do.
Everybody's an expert.
Yeah.
But we share the same values, and Art and Ashton, they are like what you see is what you get for sure, but they are the nicest, kindest, like most loving people.
Thank you.
Like seriously, like you guys are some of my best friends.
Likewise.
And
across the table.
Like we share a lot of the same values, and what's really cool about this industry that we're in and our vertical, everybody's really fucking nice. Mostly everybody's really nice, right? And so you meet people, and we all truly care about like each of us doing well, right? Like, as I've like grown my business and become much more successful, like you really realize like who your friends are and who your friends aren't, right? Like there are lots of people that come up with their hands out, like want that. And and Art and I talk about this all the time. Like it's very rare where somebody like tries to do something for you. Not
who's
that
giver, who's not taker, because it's a lot of takers out there.
Without expecting anything in return.
Yeah, we'll talk. That's another subject, please, that we're gonna talk.
So, so when, like we saw your guys' channel and like, what are you doing? We're like, great. Like, it's such a great collab because like you guys do stuff that like really like I can't do. I own a real business,
Wow.
All right.
No.
But I can't. I'll get sued. Like the reality is like
I know. Yeah.
I would get sued with some of the stuff. Not all.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like I can't do some of the stuff that these guys do, but there's a lot of crossover because like we're really good with the research side, and then we can build tools and technology, and then I'll come along with you guys, and I think us being the Three Stooges, like we handle things pretty well. Like, dude, like no joke. One of the proudest moments of my entire life,
is it Sheila?
Is the Houston video.
Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry. Yeah. Where like we interrogated this motherfucker for 2 hours. Like I don't know how.
3 different personalities.
And that was the day I saw firsthand how much of a good fucking communicator you are. Like him and I have always had a dynamic where
good cop, bad cop,
but it flip flops, and you and I will just slot into wherever. Like we don't have to discuss it ahead of time, and then you just fit in perfectly to that. And then there were so many times during that Jerry conversation where you just knew exactly what to say when I didn't and he didn't, or when.
And one more. Can I slide one more? This one, yes. You just again, I was talking, Ashton was talking, and you just like put beautiful bow tie, and you took a lead, and we closed it. There is another time when the daddy handled situation, and we're gonna talk about Mexico separate because we want to talk about
the
Cartel
ATV
and
shit
stuff.
show?
Yes. Yes,
that wasn't so much a communication as much as it was us trying to dig
it's
for
just
Spanish
kind of
words.
like, there is me, there is you, and then the daddy came, and he was like,
Yeah, but he also kind of started it. Like,
I did.
You
I
were the
definitely
one
started it.
pushing for us to break the rules.
First of all, it was my fault, so I had to solve the problem.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Why do we drive on normal roads? Let's go to fucking jungles.
What I call it, fun
the fun
tax?
tax. I was gonna say. All right. And, hey, I fully support it, but we're in a different country. Just, I don't know. But do what you're gonna do. What you're gonna
I
do.
didn't know fun tax involved going to jail and getting raped by like.
I know our rights
Mexican
in America,
dudes.
but we're not in America right now,
The
David.
person who rented those ATVs for us, she was blowing my cell phone. She was like, "You overspeed. Where you going? My GPS showing you opposite direction."
It was set up to fail.
Yeah.
It was.
It was.
Oh, fucking scam, dude.
Yeah. So
Alright.
okay, we'll get into both.
Yeah.
So I've negotiated like lots of contracts. I've literally like, so I've been in sales since I was like 19 years old. So I've been in
Give us back.
hundreds.
Just
Well,
stories.
that's what I was going to
negotiated,
ask, because
yeah.
your YouTube channel was, I don't want to say an afterthought, but it was definitely came way after
It was on
your
accident.
pre-existing
Yeah.
business of socialcatfish.com,
Yeah.
which is such a crazy, very specific kind of thing. I'm just fascinated at how that came to be
Can you
before the YouTube channel was even a thing.
Can you just go a little bit back and tell us about your advertisement career and everything stuff? Just fucking tell us who the fuck you are and who you were before
Instruct us,
Social
Daddy.
Catfish.
Teach
and
us,
then
Daddy.
what happened?
You know what's funny is like nobody gives a shit about my entrepreneur. Like, not, I don't say nobody, but very few people care about my entrepreneur journey. And like, so I'll go talk to people and I'm like, oh yeah, I've built like a 9-figure business and done this, done that. And they're like, oh, cool. Oh, you're a YouTuber? Like, that's what's like the coolest thing. So
It's like the new, it used to be an insult,
Yeah.
and now it's the new aspiration.
It is.
Flip
for
back in the days.
whatever
like,
the new gen is. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with the gen letters, but it's
so like I've always been an entrepreneur, you know, since I was 19 years old. I built my first business plan. I tried to like get money to start a business. I didn't have like a lot of like mentorship or anything like growing up. Like, you know, my dad was like a dentist, you know, but I didn't live with him. My mom, you know, was a single mom. You know, I grew up with 7 brothers and sisters. So I grew up like very poor.
7
brothers. I grew up with 7 brothers and sisters, but I had
after year 3, where did you move to?
Which city?
after my 3
Like 3 years in
3
Italy.
years in Italy.
Oh yeah, we've been all over. So like, you know, we moved to like Utah, then Idaho, then Colorado, then Georgia, then California. I've been in California.
So you
most of
settled
my life.
down
Yeah.
the family
I
and
love
everybody.
California is the best.
Okay.
But,
So you went to school in California?
Yeah. So we live in Marietta, California right now. If you don't know where that is, it's about halfway between San Diego and Los Angeles. But I graduated from high school there, met my high school sweetheart, Brienne.
I didn't know your high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
high school,
sweet.
15 years old. We were 15 and a half years old
Wow.
when we met.
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
yeah.
That's admirable. So how long have you been married then?
21 years.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Good
So-
for you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's cool. Like it's, you know, and then like, you know, I went away to college and it was like brutal. It was like really tough, like having a long distance relationship. As soon as, you know, I finished the semester, I went straight back home, and I didn't like being in the snow either. And I've been in California ever since. And we settled down in Marietta. It's like a great place to raise a family. You know, we ended up having like 3 kids, you know, out the gate. So like, our youngest is 17 years old.
So Daddy got busy like
Yeah.
immediately.
We
like,
didn't have
you know.
TV. I was poor. We didn't have TV.
Hey,
You
look,
know?
no TV, no internet, nothing. What do we
Yeah.
do, baby? Let's rock and roll.
Oh my
okay,
God.
so you
Yeah.
did rock and roll 3 times in a row, and then what happened?
Jesus. That's
few more than 3 times.
Probably more than 3.
I hit the target 3
You know,
times.
when two people when two people love each other very much, sometimes it's more.
Okay.
But we so like I've always wanted to be like an entrepreneur, and I got into sales because like I was, you know, personable and I could talk to people, and you know, one of the like best things like for me, like, so I got into selling cars, and imagine being like 19 years old, like negotiating car deals with like 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, you know, like you have to grow up really fast.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with like finance and interest rates and all that. And I was like terrible with math, like terrible. Like I struggled so bad with math in school. And by the way, I graduated with a 2.3 GPA. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know?
High school or college?
High school.
Is
you
it
know?
good? I just don't
No.
know what is GPA.
No, it's
not good.
I just don't even, because
It's 2.3 out of 4, basically.
If you're white like me, a 4.0 is good. If you're Asian, a 4.5 is good. So, yeah. So, but anyway,
It's like a D average,
yeah,
like C D average. Yeah.
yeah, like but I wasn't a good student. I remember I had a teacher come up to me and she's like, you know, like, you're not stupid. Like, I know you're not stupid. She's like, you're just not applying yourself. So like next semester, like the semester after that, I had like the highest grade in the class. I'm like, oh, I can do this. Like, and I just didn't care. I wasn't motivated, you know? And I didn't have
focus.
Yeah. And I didn't have a house where like my mom was like, hey, like get your homework done, you know, like I just didn't have that, you know?
Right.
My mom supported me in different ways, but just not like that. It just, you know, it wasn't something that she was really thinking about. And so, you know, graduated from high school, you know, have 3 kids, I had to like make money. So I sold cars for 5 years. And I did like really well, like selling cars. You know, I think just being younger too, and in the car business, you take like a totally different approach, you know, like
which dealership can I ask?
Toyota.
I just about to say, don't tell me it's
Toyota.
Let's go places.
So the whole, I could do a whole offshoot of the car sales industry because it fascinates me because of how different it is from any other sales industry. I bet you got so many like insider secrets and shit.
Yeah. I could do a whole thing on that. But like, it's funny because like I had like my bosses were kind of old school. And so they were like, wow, like this is how you sell cars. And then I was like,
sharks.
I'm just going to be friends with people and help them find what they want. And I was like extremely successful. I would send out Christmas cards, birthday cards, you know, follow up all the time. And when I left, like I just had customers who would call me, hey, I'm going to come in and buy a car. You know, like and I remember like I'm watching people wait for customers to come in and I'm like, this is like a waste of time. Like you're literally sitting there for like 10 hours a day waiting for somebody to come in so you can make money and help them buy a car and everything else. And I'm like, so I've always been about efficiency, especially when it's my time. And I'm a natural procrastinator. And so I think over the years, like this stuff has actually helped me out long-term because like being a procrastinator, you have to really think on your feet because like, you're like, oh shit, I have a test or I have this or I have that. So you have to really like think on your feet. And I think that's why like with the negotiations and everything else, like I get dialed in, I know exactly what needs to be done. And like, you know, body language, all the other, you know, you start learning that stuff.
So you did this then.
So fast forward 2007, the market crashed. Literally like on our street, you'd have 10 houses and 7 houses would have nobody in them because they were foreclosed. And so in our area, like people were using the money in their house to buy cars. And so like I went from making, you know, 80, 90 grand a year at like 23 years old or whatever to making like $1,200 a month overnight.
And of course, we want to talk about people who really freaking loves, supports, and believe in Trilogy Media. Our gratitude, like the love of people who are always there for us and are for us right now is just unbelievable, undeniable. Speaking of people who loves and believe in us, Surfshark VPN.
Surfshark VPN, this episode and Trilogy Media as a whole family is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. We are honored and grateful to not only be sponsored by them, but to be able to just keep doing this and making content every day. So thank you to surfshark.com/trilogy, by the way, if you want to get 4 extra months completely for free. If you don't know what it is, a VPN is a virtual private network. So it's what you use when you connect to the internet on any device to mask your IP address and keep yourself, you know, anonymous. Because when you're, especially on public Wi-Fi, if you do any work on public Wi-Fi, you are putting yourself up to be even extra vulnerable to anything, to malware, to hackers, to people that want to, you know, hack your IP address or whatever they want to do. Masking your IP address, also hiding your real location. So they have servers all over the world. You can pick a virtual location at one click of a button and change where the internet sees that you physically are, which has a lot of benefits other than just privacy. if there's geo-restricted content in another country, if there's a show that's only available on English Netflix.
Where I came from, Eastern Europe, Netflix left a couple countries. There are a lot of shows that not anymore accessible to the region where my ex-people live.
There's certain apps that are
Absolutely.
questionable as to whether or not they're going to be available to, at least for us here in the United States. So anyway, changing your location not only hides your IP address entirely, but it protects your privacy by allowing you to pick where it looks like that you are for all these apps and all these websites that read your location and they save that shit and then they use it against you to market to you, all that good stuff. So anyway, Surfshark VPN is the best one you can get. They sponsor Trilogy Media. They're extremely affordable, and you're going to get 4 extra months for free just on top of it, just by using our link, which is surfshark.com/Trilogy. It only would make sense that we would have a sponsor that would have something to do with protecting yourself online and taking precautions to prevent scams. That is the best fighting against scams, is preventing them from happening in the first place.
And you supporting this product, Surfshark VPN, it supports us. If you want to support us, support yourself, and
Support yourself.
So support yourself.
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself. You know what? Actually, my best kind of like this confusion story with Ashton, and that's actually applies to Surfshark VPN. Every single time, me, Ashton, Connor, when we go on a bust, we sharing each other location. And I remember like accessing to Ashton location, and all of a sudden I see it's Napa Valley, but we like in LA. And I was like,
I got kidnapped by the
what
scammer.
happened? I was like, what are you doing in Napa Valley? He was like, no, Art, I'm using Surfshark VPN.
Yes. You can protect unlimited devices with one single subscription. So your phone, your tablets, your laptops, your
Computer,
desktops, whatever it
everything
is.
we have.
One subscription covers them all. And we've been customers since day one. They were one of the first ones to sponsor us. And now they're back and they sponsor our entire brand. So we are grateful for them. And we would be very grateful if you would check them out. So with their 30-day money-back guarantee, you have literally nothing to lose. So
I can guarantee you would not use
You're not gonna
30
need it,
days.
but
You would not need it because that's how much you're going to love it. And if you love us, please love Surfshark. We love you. Let's go. If you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit? Because that's something that we're going to cross border to our Mexican adventures and until 5 a.m, jacuzzi conversations.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit struggle when you're married, when you have 3 kids and you need to apply for...
Yeah, so like I'm very proud of my past, you know.
as you should, as we all
yeah.
should. Of
Like
course.
if I literally took one thing away from my past, I would not be who I am, and I would not be where I am and is successful and everything. Like I know, and I'll tell you why.
Right.
But so essentially, like I got my insurance license because I had buddies that were selling insurance, and I left the car business to sell insurance. And I was selling like a ton of insurance every week. You know, I was like closing like a ton of deals. And then what started happening was like people started canceling their policies. And if you know how an insurance agent gets paid, so
what kind of insurance?
Life insurance, disability.
Okay.
Yeah. So like if I cut you a check for $83 a month, that's $1,000 a year. And as an agent, I can make around 55 to 60% of that up front, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the insurance agency will cut you a check for that up front. So I'm selling like my commissions like $2,000-$3,000 a week, you know, like after struggling in the car business for 6 months.
Wow.
And, but then people start canceling their policies. And so the insurance company's like, well, I prepaid you. Yeah. So I want my money back.
What?
So like I'm working all these hours.
Your commission back.
Yeah. And I'm paying commission back.
Do that shit.
Yeah.
That's
Is this even legal?
Yeah. I mean, because they're paying me in advance to help me go on. And, but this was just a tough time in the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I'm like, look, I'm just going to start a business. So, you know, like sign spinners, you know?
My brother did that.
Yeah.
Really?
So I
Sign
can't.
spinners, the one that you see
On the corner
with backflips and stuff. Yeah.
You'd be great at that. Everybody would
I can
look
be
at
like
you.
Brad Pitt with a Taco Bell.
Did we make a video pretending to be one of those guys?
Yes,
Anyway,
of course,
I forget.
something like that. Okay.
So this is where like my internet stuff picks up. So I'm always different. So I couldn't just do sign spinners. I'm like, I got to do sign heads, right? So I built sign heads. So Ryan, go to, you know what archive.org is?
No.
Okay, go to archive.org, a Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And then type in terrificad.com. So that was my website. And
Terrific.
And so
I'm going to screen record.
I built these.
I'll do it. Yeah. Okay. I'll screen record it.
I built these like stupid contraptions that would go on somebody's head. And then I found people that could dance. And so instead of sign spinners, I'm like, I'm going to find people who can dance. I'm going to do these signs. And so I started going around and like selling this.
Archive.org. And then it's
terrificad.com.
Terrific ad.
This is like 0809 by
08.
now?
It's like, 08.
Okay.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Ad.com.
It's nothing. It's not bringing
Your search
anything
did
up.
not match any items in archive.
It might, I think you might be able to go.
Oh, well, let me try it over here. Here we go.
Did it pop up?
I have a calendar.
Images? No, there is no images.
Between
Collections.
November of 2010, 2021. I never used Archive, so I don't actually know how it works. Summary. Sitemap.
A lot of
It gives me
statistics.
data, but I can't
Yeah.
actually see what it looks like.
Was it like 2009 or?
Yeah, it like starts in 2010. It says November. Saved 16 times between 2010 and 2021. But I don't know. It doesn't actually show me the website or anything.
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Okay.
Okay, so
But it's essentially, so I taught myself how to build a website, and so I was like going and I was like selling this to businesses, and
So you wear it on your head?
yeah, I like basically built like this like triangle sign that like went over your head, and then I found like some dude
be
that
great
could
at
do. I found this guy that could do the moonwalk like really, really well, and.
So your hands are free and you're just
And by the way, this guy's actually like done 7-Eleven commercials.
gotta
and
see
stuff.
a picture of this. Yeah.
Like you can do like maybe Google 7-Eleven moonwalk guy or something
All
like
right.
that. But it was this like really nice guy. He was like a caretaker and he like danced like doing sign spinning and stuff. And I had him work for me. And so didn't really like take off or it was taking longer to take off because I was working side jobs and then doing this on the side. And then, but I built my first website and I started like on Twitter, like Twitter kind of was new during that time. And I built this account with like 30,000 followers on Twitter in 1 month. And I'm like, this is my calling. Like the internet stuff is way bigger than like anything offline, you know, because your audience is everywhere.
And this is what year? I mean,
2008.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Twitter would just come out and
the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so anyway, I start doing that and so I'll tell you this like tough story, but it's really what made me and put me where I am. And so we were literally on a homeless program for 30 days. I was getting cash aid, food stamps. And it was like a very humbling time, like in my life.
Having
you
a
know.
wife and
And how old were your
three
kids?
Yeah, 3 little boys.
how old were they?
So I mean,
Roughly?
our oldest was like 5, 6, you know?
So at the time, your net worth was
It
negative
was negative
$69.
Yeah, maybe it's negative 69,000.
So did you?
So we filed bankruptcy during that time.
Oh, fuck.
And
You were homeless.
yeah. So when you file bankruptcy, you have to go through and they help you budget. So you have to get on a call with somebody who goes through your finances and they help you budget. I get on a call with this lady and she's like, I don't have any recommendations. Like literally, it was like that. That's how bad it was. You know?
Oh my God.
It wasn't like
That even professional cannot organize your shit
Yeah,
because
like-
it was
because
disaster.
we had no money.
There's
coming in,
nothing.
you know?
Yeah, you had no spending.
Yeah.
You had no money to
What
spend.
should I organize? There's
Yeah.
no money.
She's like, maybe you don't get an energy drink once a month. Like, but it wasn't like, it wasn't, yeah, it wasn't, we had no money. And I was just doing odd jobs just to like basically pay the bills. So we end up like filing bankruptcy. I lived with a buddy who's like one of my best friends, even today, and his wife and his kids.
So
for
you, with
30
your
days.
family, you stayed at his
For his
house?
place for 30 days. And then you just don't want to be like a burden for other people. Like, and I've just never been somebody who's expected anything from anybody else. And I think that's key too in life where like
To
so
a
many
lot of
people, they expect like other people to do things and help them out. And there's nothing wrong with like rubbing somebody's like,
It's
back.
like me.
Yeah, scratching somebody's back.
Yeah.
It's like me expecting that Ashley's gonna be a nice guy, or Ashley, like gonna like me one day.
You
It's
can't
like
miss
those
it. It just has to happen.
expectation.
Yeah.
It just
Uh-huh.
yeah.
It's
I don't
fucking-
expect anymore. Like
fucking-
asshole. I just
Good.
get
Well,
used
at least
to
you're
it with
fucking
an asshole.
learning.
Yeah.
Dick.
That. So anyway, like I've never expected anything from anybody else. So we get on this like program and we had to get into an apartment and no apartment wanted us because
You just filed for bankruptcy.
because we just filed for bankruptcy. I didn't have income and the county was going to write us a check for a deposit. And they're like, you have a homeless program deposit and you want me to let you live on our property. Like, you know, like, so
how did you end up getting?
Yeah. You want to know how I did it?
Oh.
So I learned internet and Photoshop and all this stuff. So I took my bank statements from 12 months before that and I forged, like I committed fraud. You know? I allegedly,
Hey, hold your fucking horses.
this is why I'm so good at uncovering scams, right? So
The truth comes out, allegedly.
So allegedly, I photoshopped.
There is some Italian came out of you. You're like, you know what? I have some Sicily roots in my blood. I will do something fucking illegal. All right,
Yeah.
go.
Allegedly. So I took these bank statements and I changed the date because it was the easiest thing to do. Because like originally I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, how am I gonna like fudge every date
Every transaction,
and every
yeah.
transaction? I'm like, oh, I'll just go get a year before, change the top, change the bottom, and then change a couple of dates. So I did that, zoomed in, photoshopped the new number, and then saved it as a PDF, and then sent it in, and then we got in to our apartment. But if I would have done that,
but you know what? You still paid the rent.
Yeah,
it was a victimless crime.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know, who
still
cares?
paid the rent. And then I'll never forget this. It was Thanksgiving. We just moved in. We're having, by the way, like all my family kind of disappeared when we were poor, which is crazy.
Funny how that works.
It's funny how that works, you know?
Been there, done that, huh?
So, and then my brother and sister were younger, but like my family like disappeared when we were poor.
Everybody has
You
their own
learn who
problems.
your friends are when you're doing well and when you're not doing
And
well,
family.
and the mix of two, and family.
And family, you know, like my wife and I always say like family is not just blood, right? Like you guys are family,
of course,
like, you know? And so anyway, we're eating dinner on boxes, cardboard boxes, right? Because we don't have a table. And we had just gotten food delivered like from, I think it was like American Eagle Society or something like that. And that was our Thanksgiving dinner. And I remember going to the bathroom and crying, you know, because it was like,
how can you not?
Yeah.
How can you not? And that's why this movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, that movie resonates with me so much. You know?
Same fucking shit.
And I went to the bathroom and I cried. I'm like, fuck, man, like I've always been like my entire life, I've just been a bulldog, like a hard worker, like my integrity is like super high. Like there's just certain things like that's just who I am, you know? And to be in this situation, especially being in the car business and being successful and everything else, like at a young age, you know, it was tough. So we started selling everything we had because we had cash aid, which paid our rent only, right? Essentially our rent. And we had food stamps that bought food, but we had no money for like gas, any insurance, anything else, right? So I'm selling like everything in our storage. We're selling like our old crib that we had for the boys. And, you know, we had some nice stuff because we bought some nice stuff in the past. And this guy comes to my house and he buys this crib and he's like, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm like getting into social media marketing. And I showed him the website and my Twitter accounts that was learning how to build. And he's like, you should come and meet my nephew. He's like a club promoter, but he's starting a social media company too. And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. You know, got his number, go to bed at night. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And my wife's like, where are you going to go? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going to go. Like, I just met this guy. And like, what am I going to go? I'm like 26 years old. Why? And I'm married and I have 3 boys. Like, why am I going to go to a club and hang out with a club promoter? That's not me. She's like, you should go. And I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. Like, she's like, how's it going to hurt anything? You should go. I'm like, okay. Text him. Like literally that Friday we go to the club. I meet this guy and he's like a guy like my age, like, or a year or 2 younger than me. So we decided to start this business together. All 3 of us get into it, realize the guy that like bought the crib knew nothing about the internet. Right. So me and the guy, and his nephew that he introduced me to decided to start this business together. I just fucking met this guy. Right. So I start like learning how to build like WordPress sites and do all this stuff. And so get the business incorporated, build the site. And then he has to move to Utah. Like, you know, he has family there. So he's like, you know what, I'm moving to Utah, but we'll still work on this business. So I'm like, great, go to Utah. And he's at a party and like, he meets this guy at a party that's like drunk. He's drunk. They're drunk. And they start talking about what they're doing. This guy's like, oh, I write content for a living. I'm a content writer for blogs and stuff. And he's like, we should all come together and start this business together. So I get on a call with a guy I literally just met like 2 months ago, with a guy he met at a party, right, in Utah. And we're like, let's start this. This is a great idea. Let's start this business together. But we all had like kind of complementary skills. And so we start this business. We started getting off the ground.
Which was
It was Driven Media. So, but it was misspelled because Driven was taken. So it's Drive-In Media. So DRIVIN media.com. That was my first like real website, blog, all this stuff.
What did you do?
We did like social media marketing, web design, all that stuff. This was in like 07, 08. So start it.
Do you still own all these domains of these old businesses?
Like you have to. You have to keep them.
So do they just forward to Social Catfish or something? Like,
No,
they just sit there?
They just sit there.
Yeah.
You have a site, like you can finish with these.
My
but,
OnlyFans site.
Yeah,
yeah,
site,
but
yeah.
I'm a subscriber.
you have a side revenue income is to own domains, right? Is that correct?
I do make some money, like, buying and selling domains here and there. It's like not a big part of my income, but like,
You own a couple big names.
I have some good domain names. Yeah. Like
a domain Robinhood just rescued his domain from Japanese porn.
I know. He told me that. That was cool. Yeah.
It was Japanese porn for like 3 years.
Speaking of unexpected gift from somebody, like I can, if you will do something nice for me, or you will do something nice for me, it was like, yeah, it's my fucking brothers. Yeah. But when
you would, Ash.
You wouldn't, yeah. But absolutely person who I never met in my life, DM me on Instagram, and he said, hey, I bought your domain, artcolic.com, and I just want to fucking give it to you. And I was like, Ash, it's probably scam. And he was like, look.
I'm like,
ask him.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
Domain transfers don't require any personal info. So if he's for real, he'll just give me an access code and I can take it. And
I'm at Costco fucking shopping and buying suja for his live stream punishments.
That's great.
And Ash, he was like, this dude is real. Wow. This dude fucking is real.
And we just accepted it a couple days ago. Yeah.
So recently.
Yeah. It's happened last week.
Yeah, last week.
Last week. Somebody slided in my DM and said, like, I want to give you a gift. I love what you do as Trilogy Media for humanity.
Shout out to that guy.
You guys have one of the best squads.
We have the best fucking supporters
right,
on
David,
the planet.
Keep going. I'm
but
so
yes, I am into this story. And we
so,
have like 45 minutes left. Can you believe how fast that went? Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah,
okay, speed it up to the success.
Okay.
Life doesn't work that way, bitch. Yes, it works. Look at him.
But people see that, right? And they think,
they think overnight
nobody fucking knows what you were.
Of course.
So anyway, we decided to start this business together. The guy I met that was a club promoter ends up like backdooring a deal with like somebody else for a website. So we find out he's trying to build this website for somebody else behind our back. And I'm like, wait, we decided to start this business doing this.
And you're already backstabbing us.
And then you're already backstabbing us. So me and the guy that I've never met in person, right? That was at this this party in Utah. We're like, look, let's just branch off. Let's do our own thing.
Wow.
And so we end up doing it, and we end up like growing this business to like $10,000-$15,000 a month, like pretty much overnight.
Don't tell me that's your ex business partner of Social Catfish. What?
Yeah. Not Social Catfish.
Not Social Catfish.
Not Social Catfish. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So anyway,
but it started as 3 people.
Yeah.
Familiar.
So yeah. so we're doing that. Just the two of us. Literally never met him in person. Right. We're just like working together. And then, as time goes on, like I'm killing myself, dude. Like I'm working from 7 a.m. to like 2 a.m, like almost every day. And because I'm doing 2 things. I'm learning how to do what I'm doing, and we're helping our clients out. Right. And then I'm having like my brother help me out a little bit. And so I go to like my business partner. I'm like, dude, like I'm doing all this work and you're like outsourcing articles, and like I'm killing myself. And we decided to just split off the business. And I was doing a really good job doing SEO for this company called clicker.com. And so if you know who Jim Lanzone is, and so he's the CEO of yahoo.com. He was a CEO of Clicker. And so the guy that I dealt with at Clicker, he was like super happy with like the work that I did. They got bought out by CBS Interactive, who own like a lot of like web properties. And they're like, hey, why don't you like come on board and like work with us, And this is like right after I split up from my business partner. And I'm like, sure. And I took a pay cut, So he's like, look, we're going to start you off as a grunt, but it's a good opportunity.
A cooler man. You're going to be like a changing cooler.
Pretty much.
A coolik.
Yeah.
Coolik man.
So I start working for CBS Interactive, and I have like 2 years experience in internet marketing, and I'm like most junior person on the team, but I'm like grinding every day.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm literally
bulldogging.
I'm like always online, always working, like learning really fast. I remember like being in meetings and like I'm Googling, like they're asking me questions like on how to do things and what to do.
Was it
And your hands doing like this.
Yeah.
Was it refreshing or discouraging to go from working for yourself to then being under a corporate umbrella?
It was well, no, it wasn't
No?
discouraging. Like, you know what it was? It was a new opportunity. That's the way I looked at it. Like
set of
now
skills,
I couldn't do it
learning.
now,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm successful. I wasn't successful. Like I had a small little business.
But you were the most successful you had been yet, right?
I wasn't making more money than I was making in the car
With cars?
business
Okay.
because you know you have overhead with the business and everything else. But I was at least working for myself and doing what I loved, right? And because I was learning all the internet stuff, like working at CBS, and you learn at a fast pace. 300 million people a month, right? That come to our properties. You learn very fast, right?
You'll have to.
It's like if before you started doing Trilogy, if you were working for like Netflix and you were streaming or you worked for YouTube or, you know, big channel, like you would learn a lot really fast. And so like, I basically got this like fire hose and I was killing it. Like, you know, after like 6 months or so, I got my first promotion. 6 months later, got my second one. I had 14 promotions in 7 years. I was the most promoted employee out of like one of them, either the most or one of the most promoted employees out of like 14,000 people.
And
you know?
and let me get this clear for our audience. No sexy activities involved with your manager or boss after hours, right?
Allegedly. Yeah.
Did you adjust your resume PDF as well? Did you change the dates?
Yeah.
Photoshop your resume?
But I started, like, I was kind of the grunt. And then by the time I left, I was managing the most successful property they had. I took it over. It was down 30% year over year. When I left, it was the world's largest tech site, which is cnet.com, you know?
Wow.
And
Fuck yeah, dude.
and then
A.
we killed it. Like we did so many cool things there. I learned a lot. You know, I was probably one of the best SEOs in the world at some point for what specifically I did. But I learned a lot about like internet marketing and like actually doing things that make a difference, right? I think like the biggest thing that I've learned, especially running a business, people can come in and they can do stuff every day, but like realistically, the best employees are the people that come in and do the things that make the difference.
Yeah.
Even if you're lazier, right? Like I like going back to 2.3 GPA, right? Like I'm a smart guy. Like it has nothing to do with smart, but like I'm a procrastinator. I'm not lazy anymore, but I used to be lazy. But I've always been really good at finding the things that make the biggest difference. And that's how I was so successful, because I would always do things because I was that procrastinator to make the difference. And that's why like everybody loved me. They would fight over like, oh, I want David to work with my property. I want, you know, like all the time, you know. In fact, when CNET got sold, like my boss calls me, he's like, you're part of this deal. You have to go with this deal. Like, you know, like they may not buy it without you, you know? So I went on and they got bought out by a company called Red Ventures, who owns Bankrate.com and a bunch of other companies. I did that for like 6 months to help them kind of get through the phase. And then I started Social Catfish 3 years before that.
Yeah.
So I'll get into
Took us through.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I wanted,
what a random, why social catfish?
Why?
yeah.
And why call it that when you weren't doing romance scams yet?
So that's how I learned all the internet marketing and did everything. And so while I was with CBS, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. So like, I'm like, okay. And it wasn't about making money. It was about like doing different things on my own and learning different things. So like I would build websites and start them up and blog and do this other stuff. And then I have like one of my great friends. He's still one of my great friends today from high school. He was kind of doing some similar stuff, and we met up and we're like, we should just start building websites and flipping them. So that's what we did. We built like a few websites and we sold them. And then he calls me one day and he's like, dude, there's this show called Catfish. Ooh. And in the first like 2 minutes of the show, they open their email up and there's like thousands of emails of people needing help. This is a real problem. And I bought this domain, socialcatfish.com.
Of course, yeah.
And
of course, he did.
So at the time we were like in the middle of selling like a site. And then, so I'm like, let me just spin up the site. So I got Social Catfish up and running, built the site, put the blog out, and literally like a week later started getting like hundreds of comments, which like it's difficult to build a site and get traction.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it takes
and get engagement.
Like,
especially on not an unknown unknown domain, like not like youtube.com, but it's like something that you
it's
created.
like putting out like one YouTube video and getting like thousands of views and like hundreds of comments. Like it just doesn't happen.
No,
you know?
No.
And so it's like,
Especially overnight.
Or if it does, it happens for the wrong reasons.
yeah. So anyway, so I'm like, there's something here. So started like doing more and more, and then started writing content and doing some marketing to drive traffic. And then my buddy's like, what are we gonna sell? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, but
figure it around.
but the initial idea was like, okay, let's like help people, like we'll do like image searches and other things. Let's just help people find out who they're talking to online. But what we figured out like really quickly is that like people were getting scammed left and right. And there were, by the way, during this time, there was no resource for this at all.
Yeah.
And
no tools.
Well, and
no
before
nothing.
Catfish was a show, it was an indie film. It was like a documentary, like We Make Malice in Dallas. Like it was a
Really?
film that came out when I worked at Blockbuster, because I remember renting it.
Blockbuster.
And name was Social Catfish?
No, just Catfish.
Just Catfish.
Catfish.
Wow. What year was this, David?
2012,
Yeah. Like,
something was when the movie came out, right?
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah,
I
it was
don't
like
know. Don't quote me on
2012,
that.
2013.
So,
Don't quote me
movie
on that.
first, then
And then it
reality
became
TV.
a show, but it was the same guy,
no,
Neve.
No, it was 2013. So 2013.
Because he was hunting his own. He was being catfished. That's how that started.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't know that.
don't quote me on the details, but the star of the Catfish TV show got that show because of the film that he made that went crazy in film festivals of him chasing his own catfish girlfriend.
But his had nothing to do with money.
Scams, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It was just about
And
impersonators.
so, but we started learning like real fast, most catfishing are scams, you know? And so, you know, we put a PayPal button. I went to his house one day, my buddy's house, and we put a PayPal button on the site. Literally 10 minutes after leaving, we got our first payment. And we're like, dude, there's something huge here.
What
Massive
the
here.
heck?
And so this is kind of funny. We're like, what do we do? What do we do? We just got this. We just got
We have
this
somebody
payment.
else
we
money
just
right
got
now.
paid. What
Let
the
me get
fuck?
paid.
Yeah. So we're
Thank
like,
you. Yeah, that's the movie. Oh, the movie came out in 2010.
yeah.
Documentary, drama, mystery. It was only hour 27 minutes long.
No.
Yeah. It didn't have his face on the
Wow.
cover because it was
Yeah.
just about him chasing,
Yeah.
like trying to figure out who's catfishing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So got our first payment, followed up, and then we're like, okay, we'll do research. And like doing marketing and stuff online, you already know how to do a lot of research. So like archive.org, I could code. So we start looking into it, send it back. She's like, this was amazing. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. But we just charge you $10 and I spent 2 days doing this. So
How about right now we're gonna put price on the time and
yeah, so we after like a few weeks or a month or something, we raised the price, and then we kept getting orders.
So it was like an investigation service.
Yeah,
kind
so
of.
yeah.
it's like learn as you go.
Yeah, you know, but like it's like, hey, there's something here. Let's test the waters,
Yeah.
see what it is
Yeah.
without spending too much money. You know, PayPal button's really easy. And then, you know, people don't mind, like, you know, like you're not going to get a lot of orders, but like people don't mind if it's kind of a messy setup. Like, you know, people get so obsessed when they start businesses that everything has to be perfect.
Yeah.
I kind of joke around that Social Cap has never been perfect. You know, it's been far from
Well,
perfect.
same with
And-
Trilogy. Yeah.
yeah.
It's no different.
And
Mhm.
we just continue to fine tune
You'll learn
things as we go.
like a baby.
So what blew up for us is we had a lady that we did this a catfish scheme with, and she was actually it was a catfish and not like a scam. And we found out that the guy, so it was a lady that at that time she was talking to somebody when she was 17. She was like 22 now, but she's like, I've been talking to this person for 5 years, and we dated for the first few years, and then now he like doesn't really want anything to do with me on that level, but we talk every once in a while, but he won't tell me who he is.
Mhm.
So I start digging in, and I find it's like 65-year-old man, you know? So he's a pedophile, right? And then so the show in Australia, Current Affair, comes to us and they're like, we want to do a story on this. You know, we get this lady and we do it, and our site blows up. By the way, our site was broken, like had all these problems. We had so much traffic. It took our site
Crashed
down.
the whole thing.
It crashed.
Shit.
But you kind of learn this stuff.
Learn as you go. Yeah.
And then we started automating the service and building tools to do that. And then really started getting hyper focused into scams. Like I had a lady that called me I used to answer all the phone calls and everything, at least initially. And she's like, hey, I want my information removed from your website. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Like, we focus on scams anyway, so let's remove it. And she was like telling me about like her ex-husband was like a stalker and she didn't want her information on there. And I'm like, man, like I didn't realize like data could be used for bad, like because we're focused on it. So
against you.
Yeah. So we started putting like things in place, like opt-outs and different things like early on, even before all the laws came out.
I know it could be very random right now what I'm gonna say. I'm say a lot of weird shit. And one of those
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk about
what a novel observation.
Let's talk about balls. Okay? Do you remember those 800 boiled? You remember?
I didn't boil any balls.
Do you remember those 800 plastic balls and French made, aka art?
Do we remember? Is that a serious question?
That was nightmare for me. I already forgot.
Well,
but listen, those 800 plastic balls actually represent 800,000 data brokers who constantly,
so to speak,
that constantly trying to collect and steal your information.
I think what you're trying to say is this episode is sponsored by Incogni.
Here we go.
Which you might be wondering, hey, I thought this episode was sponsored by Surfshark, but it's also sponsored by Incogni. You know why? Because they're sister products. They're under the same company.
Brother and sister.
It's the same family.
Yeah.
And they're both.
If you want him, unfortunately, you have to get me. If you want me, you have to get him.
They're both awesome. They both work.
Yeah.
We trust them both.
Yes.
And you can get discounts for both by using the links that are specific to us here at Trilogy Media. We mentioned surfshark.com/trilogy. You wouldn't believe this, but Incogni's is incogni.com/trilogy. You might be wondering, what the hell is Incogni? I'll tell you.
Wow.
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking.
Anyway, we are, by the way, we're fucking grateful, okay?
Yes, we are.
Look, we're saying
Not
that
like
they're sponsoring, this episode. We say they sponsor another episode. Really, they sponsor Trilogy Media. And it would only make sense that we would be sponsored by companies and products that have to do with protecting yourself online. Incogni is a service that removes your personal information from public databases. And, I hear people say all the time, well, my major hacks, major company, MGM gets hacked or Google gets hacked.
AT&T, I got hacked. My social security is on dark web.
It happens a lot, but what happens way more than that is your data being harvested and sold and shared among data brokers, and you don't even hear about it. You don't hear about it because it's not a hacking. It's not some kind of major crime that hits the news. It happens. It just happens. It's just the way that they do business, especially here in America. So your info is all over the place. There are thousands of public data searching sites where people can find information about you. It ironically is kind of the way that we find information about bad people. But just because we can find bad people doesn't mean that bad people can't find you.
My favorite actually part about everything that you said, it's actually you can be like Ashton on his computer, at his house, laying down on the sofa, and Incogni gonna do everything for you. And not only gonna do it while you're sleeping or eating or doing jiggy activities, whatever you do during the day.
Oh, wow.
They're gonna give you a report about things that been happening while you were sleeping or doing the activities.
You get regular progress reports. They tell you how many brokers they've contacted, how many have already removed your info, how many are still pending. So you know that it works. You know that they're working in the background for you, and the entire thing is automated. So they're basically doing it on your behalf. So at least I know here in America, when a data broker gets a request from you to remove your personal information, they have to do it. But there are thousands of them. So for you to sit there and, do it yourself,
69 years. I counted.
It's not feasible. It's not realistic. Incogni automates it. They do it for you. They work on your behalf. They send you progress reports, and they handle all objections for you. So literally, you can log in anytime and see where it's at, and you get progress reports to your email reminding you of all the places that your info is no longer publicly available.
The only one problem is, Ashton, I love everything about Incogni. I need to reach out to CEOs, and you know how much I love 69. Unfortunately, we cannot give you 69% off.
Well, no, we can't be greedy.
We can't get greedy. But if you're going to use incogni.com/trilogy, you're going to get 60%,
which is extremely generous.
Yes.
So, and it's not just off of like a day, it's off of an entire year. So get a yearly subscription with Incogni. You can do it by using our link. It's linked below wherever you're watching. It's wherever you click things, incogni.com/trilogy, and it gets started right away. We've been customers since day one. They're freaking amazing. They, along with their sister company, Surfshark, they're all under the same umbrella. It's all under the same family. If you watch us and you trust us, then you can trust them.
They trust them, and the only one
of course they trust them. They are them.
The only one requirement Yes, I was. My head was saying different things. I love that Surfshark and Incogni, when they were our sponsors and they back sponsoring Trilogy Media, it was one requirement. No requirements at all. Just be yourself, Arden Ashton. Don't change.
So
Just
if you're enjoying this
French
content,
maid, if you want to be on your sofa, if you want to be running, in a Surfshark costume, just be you.
Yeah,
Just be you.
just be
Goose,
you.
Just be you.
I mean, how dare we
They allow
make
us
it
to
fun,
be us,
right?
And the most important stuff is do what we do, which is saving victims, busting scammers, choking, verbally choking child predators, arresting them. Thank you, Surfshark and Incogni, for allowing us to be us and do what we love to do.
Go to those links below, save money, protect yourself, prevent scams from happening, and keep enjoying the podcast. Thank you guys so much.
Like I say it all the time, and you guys have heard me say it, like I want to protect people online. I'm passionate about it. I don't give a fuck about the money. Like the money's great, the money's nice, and the money will usually come if you find something that solves a problem for
you
a lot
have
of
a
people.
passion and you go,
Were you full-time social catfish, or were you working 2 jobs now?
So I was working 2 jobs. So I was working full-time at CBS, and I've always worked a lot though.
Which was a steady paycheck.
Yeah,
and so when did you say, I'm going to do full-time and leave a really good job?
So I had like 28 employees and I was doing $4 million in revenue when I left CBS. Like I remember meeting with
that revenue in so for catfish.
Yeah.
Why would you wait so long to leave CBS?
CBS was such a cush job and I was so good at it and I had things
zone.
Well, I also came from like being homeless, right? Like
you had a steady paycheck and insurance.
I had a paycheck. Yeah. And then also too, like one of the things that helped us out the most is that I didn't take a paycheck for 4 years, right? So for Social Catfish. So every bit I was working for free for 4 years growing the business.
I see.
All my employees were getting paid more than I was.
Yeah.
And then, so the last like 6 months before I left, my business partner and I started taking a paycheck and then the paychecks got bigger and bigger. And I'm like, okay, I can definitely leave. And I think he was kind of getting antsy too. He's like, dude, you're doing 2 things. It's getting bigger.
So you were double feasting. So you have your financial stability in CBS.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Social Catfish, it was like a baby that you're growing on the side.
Yeah. And with CBS, they kept promoting me and giving me raises and all this stuff. And I really didn't care because I'm like, I really don't care anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'm not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
It's just,
But I was doing like a pretty good job. And so my boss like, stay on. And I remember trying to leave one time, like a couple times. And my boss is like, well, just work less. Like, he's like, you're doing so good.
Whatever.
Yeah. Like, he's like, you're doing so good. Like,
why would you leave?
Yeah.
Like it took you so many years, so many promotions, so many night out after hours together. It's like,
So anyway, I ended up leaving and like the business doubled the first year, and so, or almost doubled the first year. And then I ended up buying my buddy, my business partner out about 3 years ago. And, the rest is history. And so 5 years ago, I tried to buy ads on YouTube. And this is what got us started. And the YouTube channel wanted to charge us 10 grand for one ad, for one video, for one ad. And
what year is this?
5 years ago, five or 6 years ago, I think.
Wow.
And I'm like,
2019, 2018. Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I'll just, for 10 grand,
I will do it myself.
I'll build my own YouTube channel. Yeah. Like if it's really worth 10 grand, I'll build it myself. So I hired.
You wanted ads to market the website, right? And then
that
makes make your own content, and it's
makes sense.
Because like I would go into the bank and the teller would want to talk to me for an hour about Social Catfish. Like it was happening all the time. Like, what's Social Catfish? What do you guys do? Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah. What are stories? Like everybody I would talk to was like so into it because we're dealing with the scams and on everything we're dealing with. And by the way, this like romance scams, catfishing is the #1 scam in the US. The most amount of money is lost. So it's a scam that everybody knows somebody or has dealt with themselves and can relate, but they just don't talk about it because they're embarrassed. Right. And so, so everywhere I'd go, like people would want to talk about Social Catfish. I'm like, look, I got this brand, Social Catfish. It's super interesting. There was a show that did a different version of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to make a statement about that? Because didn't you do a TikTok in response?
I just about to say that.
Neve, didn't he shit on you about this?
He did, right? Did he say something? You guys have a beef.
Not a beef,
There's no beef. Like, I think
Let's
like
set the record straight, because a lot of people don't think past the fact that Social Catfish is about romance scams. The Catfish show it's nothing to do with financial crime. It's just about fake relationships.
Yeah, like I'll give it to Neve. Like he started like the catfishing thing, right? He had a documentary, he started a TV show. We started the romance scam part, 100%. Like I don't think there were some like nonprofits and stuff doing some content around this, but we started the romance scam, like the awareness stuff, you know? And so we had a story where this lady was romance scammed. She thought she was talking to one of the guys from Stranger Things, and it went freaking viral, like all over the place. And so TMZ interviewed Neve about it. And then he's like, wait a minute, fuck this story. Why is there like a YouTube channel that's like copying us, you know?
Wow.
And like, that's the only thing he got out of it. Like, you know, there's probably a little ego there too, where it's like, hey, look, I started this.
Yeah.
But
who the fuck are you and why are you doing this?
Yeah, but like he didn't take the time to like watch our channel or do it. He just like commented on it. I actually think Neve's like in general like a good guy and like you know, he's paved the way to bring awareness to this. So like I don't have anything about him.
He served a purpose.
Yeah. He served his
He
purpose.
opened the door, he cracked the door, and you knocked that door so much that you're flying right now on PJs.
PJs. But like, I mean, our YouTube channel has like our videos get more views than their channel now. And like, I mean, it's crazy how big our channel's gotten. So I joke around like that I accidentally started this channel like 5-ish years ago. And so I hired a videographer and I didn't know anything about creating content. I've always been kind of a creative person my whole life. But I didn't know about creating content, and I've already dealt with like algorithms and stuff on Google search, you know, so I'm like, how hard could YouTube be, right? And so we started like producing these videos, but we didn't have enough stories because we weren't like promoting the fact that we were getting these stories. So we started
or public submissions. So it was no department. It was not
And I had one videographer that I hired on. I'm like, it was this like 19-year-old kid. I'm like, you make wedding videos, great. Let's make YouTube videos, you know? And so he comes on and they start doing like these like videos where we're retelling stories. And then I had like my social media guy that was like in the videos. And then, you know, he ends up leaving, and then I hired a Drew, right?
Fucking Drew.
And like the YouTube channel wouldn't be here without Drew. You know, like
he's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
He's great.
And you know, Drew was funny. For those who don't know Drew's the host of our show. But Drew comes in and he's working at Spaghetti Factory or something like that as a waiter, right? And then he has this like portfolio of like hundreds of music videos he made, like that are really good, by the way. And so he sits down with me, I interview him, and I'm like, I think it'd be great for this. He's like, bruh, like
Drew, that's Drew, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like, you know, when could you start? He's like, bruh, if you're telling me I have a job, I'll come in tomorrow. Like I'll quit my job and come in tomorrow.
Literally the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
I'll quit my job. I'll work for you.
Yeah.
You show me a pay stub.
Show me a fucking pay stub.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So he literally quit his job, and then at like Spaghetti Factory, whatever it was, one of the fake Italian restaurants, and then started working for me full time doing
How
videos.
ironic, an Italian restaurant.
Yeah. So he took over that format, and then we started kind of changing the format, and I started getting into the videos. And
because you weren't on camera at all, really. I mean,
not initially.
Like when we did the Jody stuff, even like, I mean, you were in the interviews and stuff, but
yeah, because I'm running this business, you know, and so for me, and at least initially, it was like because I thought I understood YouTube, but I didn't, you know, and so you know, we start doing it, and then I start being in like more and more videos, and I start like realizing that like people want to feel like an affinity toward you, like, you know, or your channel in some way. Right. And so if you're going to do YouTube, you have to do it like 2 feet in, you know, that's just like, there's no other way to do it and be successful. And so, so I'm like, all right, I gotta like take more time, but I'm like an extremely busy person. Like even Ryan said, like I came in and he's like, dude, you were just in like Big Sur. Like,
well, you're going to Sri Lanka in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah. So I'm a busy guy, but I like it. Like I like to stay busy. I like to, you know, grind, like, you know, and I always figure out a way to like spend time with my kids, my wife, you know, business, like get everything done, you know? So like we just went like, you know, fully in, like, you know, after Jody's video,
all the way.
After Jody's video, why do you look in my eyes, like deep in my eyes when you say that?
All the way in.
He's in love.
All the way up, all the way in.
Speaking of your eyes, people not watching might not realize this, but what is that called when you have two different? What is it?
Heterochromia. 2 different color eyes.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I have Mini David as a female version as my daughter, and it's Ruby,
her dog.
My dog.
The first time I meet Anna, Art's wife, she sends me a picture of her dog and me side by side,
side by side,
like side by side.
Therefore, I was like, David, look at this, David. Look what I have. I have Mini you. Okay,
that's funny.
There are 2 subjects that I want to hear.
Before we change that, I have one more question about all that.
Right.
For what would you advice would you give to people that are in a position that a lot of people are at some point when they're working a job that they absolutely hate and they have a side hustle that they want to do full time, but they're trying to balance the two and they're trying to figure out when is the right time to leave the one they hate and do full time into the one that they really want to do?
So it depends on your risk tolerance. It depends what you have. Like if you have a family, it's probably going to be a different answer if you're on your own, right? Like if I was single and I started Social Catfish, I'd probably just go gung ho and do it because like I can live on little, right? Also the thing is like people are so inconsistent in this world. Like, you know, they start something and then they'll kind of half-ass it. And like I heard a stat about like New Year's resolutions where like the 11th of January is when most people quit their resolution.
Yeah, there's such bullshit.
Right. Yeah. So it's like people are just not good at being consistent. So like the first thing is like if you can build habits and be consistent, like getting your business going, the most important thing in your business is sales, right? Like you have to make money, you know, if you can't, people say, oh, you make all this money in YouTube. It's like, I need to make money. I have freaking like just the YouTube channel alone has 7 staff members. Like, and then travel's not cheap. Like, and almost every case we do is like a last minute thing because we're like, crap, we have to jump on this. Flights are way more expensive when you book them out 3-4 days. Everything's more expensive. So it's like, it costs money to bring entertainment and hopefully education too to YouTube. Like it's not free, but it's this amazing platform we have access to do it. And so, so as far as like going full time with YouTube or any venture, like, I mean, you have to see a way to scale it enough to cover your bills, you know? And if you can figure out like a way to repeat making money, that's the key. I'll say like, you know, you can make money and like when you're clocking in, clocking out, and that's one thing. But if you can learn to make money in your sleep, you will be wealthy.
Yeah.
And so
after hours.
Yeah. You have to figure out how to make money when you're sleeping, like in a business and not just trading your time for money. If you're trading your time for money, I'm not saying you can't be successful. I know a lot of people that trade their time for money, but you are locked in and you're handcuffed at all times.
There's no residual wealth with that.
Yeah. So the key is like figuring out, okay, how do I make money in whatever I'm doing, right? Whether it's walking dogs, starting a website, starting a YouTube channel, and then how do I scale that, right? So like, how do you get it from, where you're at? I'm shivering a little bit. But
I just can't wait. That's what it's me too. I can't even talk. Can you shut down my seat, please?
Yeah.
Shut down. That's what I said. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like literally when I'm warm, I can't even fucking talk. I'll freeze my balls, dude. What the fuck?
Calm down. My God, it's not a big deal.
Saying mama sitting in a coat.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
So anyway, like, you have to find a way to scale like what you guys are, what you're doing. So it's like, if you are working a full-time job and say you're walking dogs, right? And you're making $1,000 a month walking dogs, but you're doing it in your free time 1 hour a day, right? Where you're like, okay, if I left and I could do this for 4 hours a day, I can make $4,000 a month and that covers my bills. Then it's time to leave, as long as you have a way to get all those clients and have something repeat. I mean, again, if you have a family, like, I don't want to say it, but there's a YouTuber, we know him, has a big family and he has a full-time job and he's a YouTuber, and he has a decent sized YouTube channel, like, and so, it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, and I was making enough money in my business where I knew if I left my job, I had money to pay my bills and I could replace my income. So it just depends on you and your risk tolerance.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things. It depends on the person.
And some people aren't ever even looking for that switch, and it does totally depend on the person.
I
But
think,
there's
like-
also a lot of people that are seeking for what is that trigger. I'm like,
Right,
I'm here, I'm halfway in
absolutely.
between. How the fuck do I?
But I know,
know.
for myself, whatever I accomplish in my life and whatever we accomplish together, if I would know that there is a fucking security deposit, I would not jump that high. I would not fucking jump from that cliff because that's safety. I know
Safety net, you mean?
Yeah,
not
safety.
security deposit. We don't get those
Yeah,
back.
security deposit,
Trilogy
I mean-
doesn't get security deposits back, just FYI.
Fun tax.
fun, yeah, fun
The
fact.
security deposit triples, actually.
If I know that there is money on saving account, why would I bother? And just like, it's like, it's too relaxing. It's too comfort. For me, it's like you broke. There is nothing to eat. You're getting evicted next month. And that's a point you're like, motherfucker, let's do it. Like, it's like me and Ashton. We're late on bills for apartment that we're living. There is fucking coffee, banana, peanut butter, jelly, and bread. And fridge is empty.
Bananas for you, though.
And even little fucking rat passing by, open the fridge, hang herself because nothing to eat. There is a saying in my country. Мышь повесилась в холодильнике. That you
What does
open
that
your
mean?
fridge, you broke so much that the rat hang herself in the fridge. Yeah, I swear there is a saying like that. Мышь повесилась в
There's a lot
холодильнике.
of dark things.
All right. Sidebar, as Ryan put for us as a definition. While a daddy is an attractive old man, a zaddy is a man with swag who is attractive and also fashionable.
Oh, okay.
You know what? He's fashionable and
Wearing my white shirt, like
Oh, it's perfect.
listen.
Look, we have 20 minutes
No,
left.
hold on.
We
Hold
have
on.
20 minutes left. That's a fact.
11:07. Can we? What?
No, don't make him late for his plane.
Hold on.
Yeah, I have to
Let's
leave
go
it.
into
No.
Lucha
Tell me
Libre.
what time. 11:30.
11:30. Yeah.
All right.
20 minutes. Lucha Libre.
Hold on.
Don't tell me. Hold on. That's
Hold
the
on.
fact. We have 20 minutes left.
Two things, and maybe there is something that it applies for a lot of people. Before we go on to Lucha Libre, we're releasing brand new episode 4, 40 Club that we did in Mexico. David, we bond with a lot of things. You're very competitive, you're hardworking, and there are a lot of things that I admire about you. There is something that blows my mind, and a lot of people need role model. And that role model, not me, when it comes to diet, fitness, and healthy lifestyle. I was in sports all my life, but there is something I want that you walk us through. Give us 5 minutes. How the fuck you've been completely overweight? You've been drinking Jack and Coke, eating your hamburgers, don't give a shit about the diet. And one day you said, enough is enough. And from what you have, you decided to structure your life, get on a diet, and be in the gym every day. What the fuck? Tell us, how can we all can do this?
Yeah, so I lost 80 pounds about 6 years ago.
And what motivated you to do that? Wife, friends?
Yeah,
What was that breaking point?
It was a combination of a few things. Like my whole life, I kind of not my whole life, but like when we had our first kid, my wife, she was eating like Little Caesars pizza like every day. That was her craving, right? So I like ballooned during that time, and then got so hyper focused on like business and career and family that I didn't like focus on my health. Like,
Yeah.
So my lifestyle was focused around that stuff and not my health, right?
Mhm.
And so I had like yo-yoed and gained and lost weight. And my wife's like very attractive. Like I have a very attractive, I married up for sure. And like I have no problem admitting that, right?
Mhm.
And so I want to look good for her. And like as I started to age, I'm like, I want to be around a long time for my family. And so I started like realizing like the way I was eating was the contributor to like that, right? And so it's like I built this lifestyle around the food that I was eating, and I had to change my lifestyle permanently. So because I had lost like 30, 40 pounds in the past and then gained it back, and I'm like I can't just diet. Like I can't just do a temporary diet. I have to do a lifestyle change,
You
right?
have to adjust everything.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. It took 2 years, but I focused on finding a way of eating that I was happy with, that I could do for the rest of my life, right? Not just like anybody can go and starve themselves for 30 days.
right.
Anybody can do that, right? But to do something that you're going to be satisfied the rest of your life, it took me 2 years to figure out the diet, And then I figured that out. I got a personal trainer. I didn't even want to be like in that great. I just want to be like healthy, right?
Mhm.
And then I started getting in the gym, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I love this. Like, but this was like after a year of me being in the gym, I had a trainer, and then he ended up moving, and I ended up working out on my own. And I just started like developing this passion for working out. And I started realizing as an entrepreneur and business owner, YouTuber, that like, it's not just, you have to be sharp, you know? And then like when I'm working out and eating healthy, like, and sleeping and not having stress, it's a different level of sharpness that I had. And, you know, we don't have a lot of time, but even during this time, like I was actually like really unhappy, you know, because like I was so hyper focused on like the next goal, like going after that instead of like enjoying like what I had
during the process.
Yeah. And I did a interview with like Greg Reed, and Greg Reed's like an author, and he one of his books, like he talks about happiness, and he interviewed all these people that were like really wealthy, that were happy. And the number one thing that they did in life was that like it didn't really have much to do with money. It was just, they found the things that made them happy, and they just did more of that. And so this is when things started changing for me. It's like, look, I got to build this lifestyle. I got to build this lifestyle about being happy, whatever that is for me. And I'm like, okay, spending time with my family makes me really happy. Building a business makes me happy. Giving back makes me happy. Taking care of my health makes me happy. And so like I built my lifestyle around that. And those are things I do every single day. They're really important to me, and I don't settle. Like that's it. Like even this morning, I got up at 4 a.m. I drove here. There's an LA Fitness down the street. I snuck into an LA Fitness.
You hit the gym and you came to podcast.
I worked out and then I came here because I don't feel good if I fly for 20 something hours, if I don't like work out before that. And they're non-negotiables for me. Like, and what I've also realized too is like, if in life, whatever you want to do, you have to be that person now. So if you want to run a YouTube channel with 50 million subscribers, right? You have to be that YouTuber now to get to that point. Yeah. Like if I want to lose weight, I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to like go on a walk, right? I have to change my diet. I have to be that person that's 80 pounds less right now so that I eventually catch up to that. And that's the biggest like aha moment I've had in my life is like, whatever I want to do, I just have to be consistent and disciplined enough to do it. Like, and you don't have to be as smart as anybody else. You can literally have and do anything you want in your life if you can do those two things, right? Like I know lots of stupid people that make a fuck ton of money or that are really happy and have great lives, and they're just dumb as dirt, like a lot, seriously.
True statement.
I know some smart people too, but like you'd be surprised how many stupid people are very successful in life. I promise you, if you ask my teachers from high school, if I was ever going to be successful, they would never think I was be successful. But I've become obsessed with being the person that I want to be 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. And, you know, like as I've gotten older, like I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm in the best health I've ever been in. I have more sex than I've ever had. You know, my relationship is better than ever has been. My relationship with my kids has been better. My business is more successful because every single day I'm being that person that is going to build that company or have that relationship with my kids and my wife and everything else. You just got to do it.
And I think it's a great transition to 40 Club.
Yes. Before we end, I want to cover 40 Club. I want to talk about it because this is something that I've kind of watched be birthed in front of me.
What have you thought about
Sacramento? We were flying to Sacramento when you told me that idea.
Star in it, which has been fun on the things where I don't have to do anything except climb 100 and some fucking stairs.
And let's talk a little bit about the
Cartel.
All right.
I want to focus because I wasn't there for the match. And all of this crazy fucking decision making that started with this fucking show
and led to you guys arrested,
going to do a Lucha Libre competition in Mazatlán, Mexico. What the fuck were you thinking?
Oh my! Let's go from the beginning. Say really quick about the idea on the plane and what happened and how it happened. Go ahead.
You should probably tell this story, but so we're on a plane.
Me, Connor sitting together, David by himself.
This was a trip I wasn't on, right?
Right. We're going to Sacramento to our case.
Art's talking shit because I'm like 10 rows up from him, right? So Art's texting me on the plane. And then if you don't know how Art texts, he'll send you 2 words and then hit send, send you 2 more words, send.
Yes.
So he's blowing up my phone. Motherfucker, blah, blah, blah.
7 bubbles for one sentence.
Sending me pictures. And then so we're like joking. And then I'm like, you want to hear something funny? I'm like, I signed up for a Spartan race.
You told me that when we went through
Security or something.
security, and you said, yo, brother, you're 40. We're gonna celebrate your birthday today in the hotel after the bust. Listen, what happened with my 40th birthday? I got this Beast Marathon 30 obstacles race.
Like someone signed you up for it, right?
Right.
Well, I thought it was a 5K. So it's on my birthday, like a few months before that. And my buddy's like, dude, you're in good shape. I do these like marathons. We should do it. And like, I'm thinking the Spartan thing is like a 5K. It's like 3 miles. I'm like, yeah, dude, all day long.
I can
So
do that.
I know it's in January. And I'm like, I don't really think I need to train for it because, you know, whatever. So I'm trying to find the date, like the day that we're headed to the airport. And I find the date and I'm like, Beast. I'm like, that's different from the other ones. I'm like, 22K. I'm like, that's more than 5K.
You find out that 7 days before on Saturday, because we were flying on Sunday, and he telling me
You
he was
found
like,
out 7 days before it was going to happen.
before it's gonna happen,
That it was 4
because
times
he
longer
gonna
than you
sign up
thought.
and he want to
And
know
30
the
obstacles.
address.
And
30 obstacles.
30 obstacles.
So I told-
22 kilometers, 30 obstacles, and he said, Art, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do it. And while we walk in, and this motherfucker going to his first class, business class, whatever these bitches flying, definitely not PJ.
You should have just texted him back and said, hey, broke person.
And I'm getting with Connor, and we're
in
sitting.
economy.
I'm getting in my economy next by the restroom, sniffing somebody else's ass crack.
Good.
And I'm sitting
Makes me happy.
with Connor, and I turned around and I was like, I'm creating a show. We're creating a show. I have this in mind. And episode 1, I was like, I'm gonna join my brother. I'm gonna next Saturday, I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna figure it out. So we did this. Watch on Trilogy Plus. See what
you
happens.
have to watch it.
The first
Yes.
episode, it's actually, I watched it and I'm like, this is a fucking nightmare. Like,
it was
but
great.
I can,
It was
I can,
great.
I can,
Fucking
it's
great.
like when you watch someone else's torture. It's like, it's like, I can enjoy it knowing I'm not doing that. So you should watch the first episode of 40 Club. It is inspiring, all
It is
jokes aside,
inspiring.
but holy shit, you guys went through hell.
By the way, I knew Art was in good shape. Like we've worked out in the gym a few times together, but fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, like the dude came in first place.
Dude, it was second. Thank you. It was second place.
It's because he was waiting for me. Like the first mile, no joke. Like, and I've never been a fast runner, by the way. But and I've never before this race, I've never run more than like 6 or 7 miles. So he's like, brother, we're gonna do this race together. We're gonna cross the finish line together. Blah blah. So the first mile, I'm jogging and he's jogging backwards, and I can see he's antsy and he's like he wants to get going. I'm like, dude, you should go. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go. Wow! I'm like,
I didn't
Speedy Gonzalez.
I didn't say anything to you. It just again is that Olympic shit. It's just like switch went on, and I see all these fucking losers passing me, and I
Losers.
see 10
Participants in the Beast
20,
Marathon.
30.
Losers.
They're my enemies. I want to kill them all, and that's why on camera you can hear, "I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna kill you," and my brain just clicked, and my like, you know when Bull got that red eyes, and I was like, I'm holding, and I see how you like, oh, there is a bird.
Yeah,
You stop,
I'm like, I'm
and you
running,
feel
I'm like,
the
what a beautiful
bird.
day.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, there is sunrise.
It was down near Marietta, right? It was like closer to you.
Paris, California.
Yeah.
And I just turned
And
around.
I told Bree, I'm like, I'll be at the bar if you want to just.
I just turned around and I was like, I said nothing, and my brain said, kill them all. And I just took off. Okay, so whatever.
Fast forward.
That's the first episode of 40 Club. Check
Right.
it out. It's exclusive to Trilogy Plus. The first episode is completely
Please
free
watch
to
it.
watch.
It's really good.
Please do.
Episode 4, which
Episode
is
fucking 4.
as of now, as far as I know, the drop date is the same day as the drop date for this podcast.
Yes.
So it is going to be one of the most
Today.
bombastic, fantastic, fucking insane videos we have ever produced on any platform.
Okay, Danger, Cartel.
And it was Jason's
Locker
idea.
Room.
We gotta credit Jason, right?
Jason
Yeah.
fucking love you. You owe me Achilles.
He said, you guys should do, when you go into Mexico to do Sheila's story, you should go do Lucha Libre.
And I didn't even know what that was. So we're sitting in Joshua Tree talking about it. So we write it down as an idea for 40 Club, right? So as we get closer to going to Mexico, Art and I start talking about it. And like, I have this mentality, like everything's possible. Like, and like, especially when you're successful, like you just know things will work. Like how many times do we go on a case? We just know it's going to work out, right? We have a game plan. It doesn't always
Especially
work.
when we have ATVs.
Yeah. So
we were already in Mexico with Sheila case, and the last day we went to Lucha Libre gym in the dark. Remember, there is no light, no electricity.
We couldn't find anybody.
Nobody.
So we're there 4 days or 5 days. And so the first 4 days or 3 days that we're there, like nobody will return our calls. We're trying to go to we have like a few places that we can go to and nobody's calling us back. So because we know there's matches that have gone on in the past.
And to be fair, the initial plan was not what it ended up being. You guys just wanted to go train in a gym with a lucha guy and just have a little fun.
Match,
yeah. Well, the final match in front of all those people, that was not the original plan, was it? I mean,
so
you were just going to go wrestle with a real Lucha Libre guy and just have fun and film it. Like,
I just want details for podcast. I know we have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's talk
you guys worked up over several months to go to a final real Lucha Libre competition in Mazatlán in front of 1,000 fucking people.
Okay, let's talk about the location. The location where this God-forbidden, forgotten gym was in the most cartel place. The like everybody has like Inglewood, shit for no good. You know, there is
like that.
You know, every city has like something that you should not go after. Like our competition was in the place it's called Forgotten Angeles or something.
Lost City.
Lost City. Yeah. So
thanks.
Literally like the most depressed
suburb,
like run by the cartel, like
It's like the Compton of
like worse than Compton.
Our tour guide said, guys, Cartel gonna be at this because it's a national sport. It's a cult. And
Compton's like Beverly Hills compared to this place.
So Cartel is gonna be present in these 3,000 people in Mazatlán.
So it's not that far from where we were.
Yeah.
But it's just
right.
Okay.
It's just like, and they said, don't do anything fucking stupid. Don't talk trash, whatever, because even I cannot save you because Cartel gonna be there. And let's talk about Cartel, about the guy with a lot of drugs and shooting heroin in a locker room.
Well,
before the match.
Let's talk real quick about how we even got there because that's kind of a crazy. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I want to hear about it all.
We're there and we're at the hotel and like, we filmed like an episode of Scare Me. We find this guy to translate for us and we're like, look, if you help us find a way to do this Lucha Libre thing because we're running out of time. We have one more day. I'll give you $100. So next day, all these employees keep coming up to us.
Shout out to Andreas.
And then Andreas, our translator, comes up. He's like, I have a guy who has a guy who has a guy. Right?
I know a guy who know a guy who know a guy.
So he comes, introduces the guy that does announcing at the thing. And he's like, look, I called the guy, told him, you guys are YouTubers. You guys are makeshift investigators.
Shit investigators.
Shit investigators. And the guy wants to meet you. So we drive over to this gym and there's like some Lucha Libre like stuff. Yeah. And so we get there and this guy comes and he's like, great, you can't film. And he puts on his Lucha Libre mask and there's all these like medals all over the wall. And I don't know anything about this stuff, right? But it's a world champion, blah, 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 blah. And so the guy doesn't speak a lick of English and starts talking to us in Spanish. And
Andreas translating.
And he looks at like Art and I and he's like, yeah.
He thought that we just like incapable of fucking creatures that, you know, like YouTubers. And then he saw me and David.
He thought it was me coming.
Yeah.
He showed him Ashton's picture. He's like,
and then
but I don't know.
Okay, literally sum this up. That meeting, he saw me, he saw David, and he was like, "Oh fuck, these motherfuckers are built." And his promoter, he was like, "Okay, you're gonna be where you from?" He was like, "Well, I'm American, but I'm from Italy." He was like, Italiana
Casanova. He literally came up with our names
immediately. Italiana Casanova. Okay, it's you. Flag Italy. Okay, you. Where you from? I was like Belarus, White Russia. Blanco Russo Casanova Italiana.
Literally came up with our names right then and there, and then starts picking out our costumes. Yeah. Right?
Everything in the dark. Everything in the dark with a mask.
And then he's like, we have this match coming up. We'll have you open 2 versus 2. You guys go back and train for the next 2 months. Come back and then we'll do it.
Yeah.
And Art and I leave, and we're on the fucking cloud 9.
We're like, this is it, brother. Dreams coming true.
Sounds like a nightmare.
But we were like, but it was so funny because we knew we were going to make this work. Like, I knew
3
going into
months,
this,
it's enough. Or
I
2
didn't know it was
months,
going to be
it's
this.
enough. Yes.
Yeah.
So we find the gym here in LA. We train 3 times a week. Bumps, scratches, like all this stuff. Motherfucker been driving for 3 hours because he lives far. The only gym that is available. We train. We did sequences. Me and David, 2 against 2. Everything is perfect. Flying to Mexico, Mazatlán, 7
And
days.
you're going to see all of this
No,
in
it's
the
not
episode.
perfect. They didn't want to train us after the first
Well,
day.
that's fuck them.
So,
They still did.
so I'll touch
Yeah,
on very
because
quickly.
there is more happen in Mexico.
Yeah. So we train first day, and like Art and I, I mean, all 3 of us joke, right?
We're always giving
But,
each other like.
But we're gung ho, like very serious about this. And so we're making some jokes here and there, and we leave, and I get an email like, "We're not going to train you anymore." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, not train us?" You
And
know?
they fucking charge $200-$300 per hour, like something like that. Yeah, it's fucking private
So,
coaches.
What was the reason?
So they said because we were not taking it seriously.
no,
Oh,
they said
God.
you guys not professional. Did
Where
not
have
take this
we heard that before?
And I was
And I'm
like,
like, motherfucker, I own like a 9-figure company. Like, what are you talking about? Like these, and so like I start going back and forth, and I'm like, look, like we're very disciplined people, but we like to have fun. Like, can we not have fun and do this like when we're rolling and stuff? Anyway, they had us come back. We trained. We got our asses handed to us every single week
meanwhile,
for 2 months.
these 2 fuckers are coming, smelling like a weed and hangover on Monday because it's only day that's available, Monday, Wednesday. So anyways,
How many did you do, if you had to guess? How many training sessions?
20, 15?
I mean, it was 2 to 3 a week for 2 months. Yeah, it was a lot. 3 hours each.
3 hours
Buddy,
each.
3 hours each.
Jesus.
So it was like 6 to 9 hours a week for
lot of
2
money.
months.
All right.
Yeah, and a lot of money. Yeah.
So the main
In our
guy.
final 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
Fast forward to
Mazatlán
forward.
match.
They said, guys, come 7 days prior to competition. So now I'm going to introduce you to the team to who you going to compete. We're like, bitch, we are ready.
and this is supposed to be 2-on-2 up into this point, right?
Right.
So, shit show, here we go.
was a shit
Arriving to fucking Mazatlán, right? And we're ready to go to the practice. And we end up being in Mexican music video instead of practice.
But legit. So the trainer that we had, the world champion trainer, he created a Mazatlán music video. So we go, and then we don't even know what's going on. He's
Nothing.
like, meet us in this square this
Yeah,
time, blah blah.
Go meet us.
And
all right.
all of a sudden we get there, and he's like, okay, I have this music video, and we're like so confused. We don't know what's going on. Then they start playing music, people start dancing. So Art and I start dancing, but we're like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's supposed to be Lucha Libre practice.
So then we kind of get irritated, like, look, dude, we came here because he said, oh, no practice until Wednesday or Thursday.
And
I'm like-
the plan was that we are arriving on Saturday. On Sunday, we have our first practice. And from Sunday to Thursday, we're working together. And all of a sudden, we in music video and there is no practices.
Were they using you guys because you guys were YouTubers and they wanted the names?
Yes.
And that goes back to like, a lot of people try to use you, especially when you, and you guys are much bigger than I am, but like
Well,
no.
all together. There's nobody
we
who's
don't see
bigger
it
and
that way.
smaller.
Yeah.
So anyways, we have to put that bitch on a place and say like, listen to me, fuck, we're going to do this music video out of respect to help you out. But on Monday, bitch, we're training.
Yeah.
So Monday comes, blah, blah, blah. So we're training. Amazing 3 hours. And I was like, all right, we're getting the speed.
It was a really good
It was
practice.
great practice. And we were expecting that exactly the same. Practice was like fucking 6 hours. They killed us. Instead of 3 hours, it was like 6 hour practice. Then fucking dark day came in my life, Wednesday. Out of this, just warm up with this coach who is fucking amazing. Warm up was like 45 minutes, remember?
Yeah, the first
Monday?
day, yeah.
We were like soaking wet. So on Wednesday, when we came to the practice and continue do what we're supposed to do, he's like, all right, get do like this, cheeky, walk, go. Art, go backflip, Art, do this, David, do this. And I just know my body. I know that and I said, hey, don't, and I asked him.
You told me, like, I'm worried about this.
I was like, dude, it's something not right. Like, we did not even warm up, and now he wants us to do front flip, back flip, all these 6 hour practice, and I know I'm fucking 40. That's why it's 40 club.
You need a stretch.
I need a stretch. And he said, it's okay. And I should have not fucking... Anyways, always listen to your guts and listen to your body. So I jump, blow off my Achilles, and my brother ended up being by himself in this fucking match.
And which will I think, save some mystery for the episode. Watch the episode, because I wasn't there. I've only seen some of the raw footage. I'm not editing this, so
and
I don't know everything.
From the hospital.
I got the call from that. Yeah, so I was informed about what was going on, but I don't know the match. But what I would love to hear very briefly in our last 2 minutes is at the match. You're there. It was a shit show at the match. There's cartel. There's drug use. What the fuck?
Okay, I almost didn't do it because Art was out.
They're shooting heroin.
They're not taking us seriously. So we get there, and our game plan was like, let's show up poor. Like, we don't know who's going to be here. We know.
David said, listen, I already fucking lost my brother. One already got hurt for everybody with a fucking surgery and Achilles. He was like, I don't want to, like, I'm a business owner, you business owner, I lost Art. The whole point is do it together. Art is like fucking on the surgery bed. With broken Achilles. I'm by myself with all these dudes that I'm like, nobody show up, no practice.
And we haven't practiced, by the way.
No practice.
I don't even know what I'm doing that night in front of 3,000-ish people.
3,000 fucking people.
We'll throw in a trailer too at the end of this, by the way.
So we get into the performances at 7. We got at 4 o'clock. We went to our locker room, and then all these Lucha Libre fighters, professional fighters, are coming in. And we noticed that there is a guy, flashy as fuck for this broke neighborhood. Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, fucking Rolex watches, gold chains, and a bag of drugs. And I see that one comes in, Allegedly. And he just popping, fucking giving drugs to the people, to the fighters that, you know, my brother's supposed to do, like, fight with them.
Supposed to fight against them.
Against them.
And they're shooting up.
This is how I'm about drugs. This guy goes in the bathroom and he's shooting up.
There is no door in the bathroom, okay? There is no door, there is no restrooms. Everything is from 90s, 30s. Everything is broken as fuck. And this dude, built very good, he just turned around. He don't give a fuck about us. He got the needle and he started fucking doing injections. And this is naive fuck. He said, oh, well, good for him. He's doing IV therapy. IV therapy before the match.
Oh my
God. And I'm on crutches, on disability.
I'm thinking these are athletes, right? Like,
oh my God. I turned around and I was like, you're such a naive brother. He's shooting heroin in his vein.
And you're about to match that guy. And you're going against that guy, yeah.
And he's going against this guy.
He was awake for 6 days. It must have been a good IV.
Oh, fuck.
So literally, like 20 minutes for the match, I'm meeting and they're like, okay, I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Learning sequences 20 minutes before the match. While the wife and kids watching in the audience.
And Banana Pants up in the stands, like trying to film.
but it was amazing, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. One small regret is that I wish, if I would totally do it again, definitely not now, but just to put on a show. I mean,
and do it together.
Yeah, like I wish that we could have done it together.
You still put on a show. I mean, I saw some clips.
Too. No,
I
this
know,
fucker did too.
I know.
So
I scared.
And after they tell you not to talk shit, you go on the microphone and call them all pendejos?
Yeah. No, I did not say pendejos. No, I said Viva Mexico, let's drink tequila.
No, he was like,
cervezas, por favor. He said pendejos.
Somebody said pendejos.
He did.
All right.
Well, they told me to, as the bad guy.
They want to fire him up.
You guys looked really cool, by the way.
Oh my God.
That felt cool.
Yeah, dude. So the only thing is that I want to say, they wanna keep me in the hospital for 5 days. He and Banana Pants, they rescue me on Friday, the day after the surgery. Saturday, we're going to the ring, and I still came. I got the microphone. I fired up. I became underdog from being that there is a gringo who nobody likes because you in the middle of Mexico, and there is Italian and Blanco Russo. Everybody boo, I came to this stage on crutches doing fucking push-ups 24 hours after Achilles surgery.
It was amazing.
I got the microphone and I was like, hey guys, I'm so sorry. I cannot compete. There is translator. And I was like, but you know what I'm going to do right now? I said, I'm going to drink fucking tequila and enjoy this show. And I said, Viva Mexico! Tres cervezas, por favor! And the crowd
went wild.
Wow. Let's go!
Oh my
then
God.
I got and I look how these high fucking zombies beating the shit out of my brother, and I'm sitting useless. I'm sitting useless on the crutches. And I cannot take anymore. I got the crutch, and I like, don't fucking touch him. And I like start limping to the guy, and I like hit one guy, and I throw the crutch, and I thought I throw the crutch to him so he can protect himself. But his opponent grabbed
this guy's already whooping my ass, right? He throws the crutch. The guy grabs the crutch and pops it over my head, dude. Like,
you would think this is a made-up story, but you could literally watch it right after this episode.
Yeah,
it's all improv.
And then I see the fucking 380 pounds rhino, the big guy.
He made Art look small. This guy's a big boy.
He wanted me. When I popped my Achilles, he came to me while I'm sitting with 6 coronas on my instead of ice. He said, "You better be good on Saturday. I want you." That's the only English that he said. With the Russian accent. When he saw that I still capable of barking or doing some stuff, he went straight to me, the rhino, the main fucking guy, and he wanna like whoop my ass. And this is how you know that you got the crowd on your side. So he got the crutch, he tried to choke me. And
literally tried to choke him with the crutch.
Literally. And there is a little fucking kid run on stage, and he passed me water.
Oh.
And I grabbed the water. I was like, gracias. And I like fucking drink like it's something fucking Red Bull or something. Drink that water. Getting up, start like whooping that rhino.
It's amazing.
When the show was over, my final thing that made my day and that year. I'm sitting, still watching other people compete, me and David. Every single kid came and asked for the autograph.
It was really
me
cool.
And David. And only one person recognizes me as Trilogy Media, but I was not Trilogy Media. I was this.
You were
Blanco Russo.
Yeah.
Guys, I love you so much. Every single one of you.
I love you guys too. 11:37. I don't want to make you miss your plane. David McClellan.
We
Social
fucking love you,
Catfish.
brother.
Thank you for being our
inspire
brother.
us to do better, to push harder, and thank you for being fucking partner in crime.
Please come back soon. We love you so much, and
we need to climb Himalayas.
Oh yeah.
We need to
go bullshit
Everest.
up in Vegas. Go race some race cars.
We have a lot of episodes.
I'll do the things that don't involve running. I'm happy with that. You know?
We tricked Ashton into working
He didn't
out.
tell me there was
episodes.
180 steps, but I loved the zip lining. David McClellan, Social Catfish. Thank you guys so much for being here. Go watch 40 Club. Go subscribe to Social Catfish YouTube channel.
Anything you want to promote really quick?
So check us out, Catfish Online on YouTube. Really unique spin on romance scams and scams in general. Check out our site, socialcatfish.com, and then you can check me out on Instagram. That's really the only platform I use.
Check him out, please. Do
check him out. Check out the Zaddy.
Check the daddy. The daddy. Brother, love
Thank you so much. Love you. Get on a plane.
Get out of here.
See you,
Let's
brother.
go.
Thank you all.
All right.
Brother boy,
Cutting sound.
thank you so much for driving all the way.
Yeah, love you guys. How do you beat any of the 40 Club episodes?
Fuck!
You go to Mexico and you become a Lucha Libre. That's what you do.
Boom!